Thursday morning, hello there. You're watching the AM show here on the Joy News channel, and what a busy week it has been, filled with action and so much of, drama, if you want to call it, on the political front, and other developments that have been of interest to you. But we've been bringing all of them to you here on the AM show. As you heard first, it's worth waking up for, and it's the reason for which we are up again this morning to bring you all of the stories that you expect some analysis on as we move on throughout the day. And we're starting off this morning with the newspaper review, where we're getting into the dailies already and bringing you all of the stories making the rounds on the dailies. I am Blessed Soga, and if you're watching us, don't worry, we'll be giving you some opportunity later on the show to equally air your views and sentiments on some of the stories that we have for you today. A packed day indeed it is. We'll be starting off with the newspaper. Why don't we just get to it right away, because some stories are already here. We'll start off with the Daily Guide newspaper and try and tell you about some of the stories that they've also been talking about this morning. So we get straight to it. The front page of the Daily Guide newspaper comes here with the big story on men's gold. Men's gold has been off the table for some time now, but it appears that the story is back because the Attorney General is slapping NAM1 with 39 charges, and that's in connection with the defunct Men's Gold company. The AG believing that he's been involved in defrauding some Ghanaians. As to whether or not that will end him up in jail, we are yet to see what the court will have to say about that. There are some other stories there on the Daily Guide, the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. 540 garment, textile companies, they're receiving some funding from the Youth Employment Agency. Internal wranglings and the just links for the top spot of the New Patriotic Party is also featuring on the front page of the the Daily Guide newspaper. Alan speaks tough over attack on agent. Details we'll get for you on page 3 of the newspaper. Now, there's talk about Nana Akufo-Addo opening Africa's biggest salt mine. It comes to the picture of the president, the chairman of the Magdan Group, Mr. Daniel Macaulay, some chiefs, as well as the Trade and Industry Minister, Honorable Katie Hammond, there on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Okay, let's move on to some others now. The Business Finder actually is here. The Business Finder this morning is talking about planning and the tourism minister, the sector minister, Dr. Ibrahim Awal, has been advising tourism industry players to try and prioritize succession planning, and he believes that that's a critical area that will boost investment in the sector, a reason for which we're having Dr. Awal featuring on the front page of the Business Finder. There's talk about the YEA's decision to disburse funds to some 12.9 million cedis to garments, textile module trainers, and the second lady, that's a wife of the vice president, I should say, is leading AfriWork team to Kenya. So that's it for the Business Finder. We get now to the Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic, biggest story there. The largest salt mine starts operation, and it's got to talk about Electrochem employing some 3,000 workers. This, we understand, is one of the largest investments when it comes to salt operations in Africa, and not just Ghana. It's the reason for which President Akufo-Addo took time off his schedule yesterday, just to be a part of the commissioning and to see for himself firsthand how this company will impact the people of Adan and the country as a whole. So he comes up with a picture of President Akufo-Addo and chairperson of the Magdan Group, Daniel Macaulay, in your shots there. And then there's talk about NAM1 being slapped with 39 criminal charges. Comes to the picture of Nana Mensah, who's the CEO of the defunct Men's Gold. the nation must rally behind in the industrial agenda, and it's part of the issues that the Daily Graphic is exploring today. Okay, so it's clear now that almost everyone is talking about Nana Mensah being back in court and the men's gold blues continuing. Let me bring in one man helping us to do the discussion this morning. Parliamentary candidate, NDC's parliamentary candidate for South Tong Maso Lokuto is joining us via Zoom. Thank you, sir, and good morning. Not... You know, I believe this is not a great way to start the morning, just reminding people of their investments that have gone down the drain. And yet the AG says what he intends to do is to, go back to court, slap some more charges on Nana Mensah. This men's gold issue has taken a very long time to settle.
Good morning, Afu.
Good morning.
My John let me say good morning to my constituents and to you and to everybody who is watching us this morning. As for this number one issue, it has become the biggest and the longest scandal so far that we are witnessing in this country, and it's taking the life of majority of the people who have invested purely in a business they think they are going to make profits and dividends out of. It's unfortunate it's turning out to be this. And the situations we see around NAM1 and this men's gold issue, since I think there are some bigger fishes out there who are deeply involved and who wouldn't allow due protest to take place and for finality to be brought to the issue. It's been so long and it's been so winding, it's been so heavy. They will go circuit court, they will go, they stop. Magistrate court, they go, they stop, high court, and it's been on and on and on. And so I can't be too sure where we are heading with this one. I just hope and pray that things will normalize this time around and then people will begin to receive their money. Just about a week or so ago, we heard that Namwan and his cohorts have come out with a new plan to cause people to pay about 650 Ghana cedis for them to be officially recognized or so that their monies can be paid back to them. Some people agitated and I hear it's been stopped. And so we are not too sure where they are heading with these things. Like I said earlier, this is people's funds they have invested into this business hoping to recoup. Fortunately for some of us, we are never moved by some of these things. And so we refrain from it. Yeah. I'm not too sure you're also involved.
No. Let me just say no. but the interesting thing about this is that even if you're not directly involved, there's a relative, there's someone who's, some way somehow related to this, and the pressure keeps piling on the dependents, people who now have to call a family member or the other to say, you know what, I placed my funds in here. Even churches, we understand, had their funds in there. So, by association, we can say that we are all affected by this exercise.
we are all involved. It's so unfortunate. Some of us have learned our lessons very early in life, and some of those things don't really move us. Of course, people spoke to me about this men's gold issue. I'll look at it, and most of the things don't really make so much business sense to me, and so I refrain from it. Unfortunately, a lot of our people, to the extent like you have just indicated, churches even fell for these things, and then it's gone the way it's going. It's so unfortunate. So like I said earlier, it's high time government brought some finality to this issue so that those who are involved, even if they won't get the dividends and the returns they were expecting, at least their principals will be given back to them so that they can go back. Most of them are pensioners who, instead of going to the bond market, have decided to go into this because they think it's better fetching. And like we've heard severally in the news, most people even can't make money to pay for their medications and to visit hospitals and to attend to themselves. And it's crazy.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting point you're raising, because the initial stance of government when the story broke, we heard clearly from the finance minister indicating that government does not intend to come through, pay, depositors fund while, going after men's gold to try and find a way of, liquidating the assets, getting much more money out of that. What we have now, presupposes that government is still towing that line. Do you feel that the finance ministry should just reverse their position on this, try and find some funds for depositors, and then we go ahead to find out how men's gold could be of help in paying back some of these funds back to government chest?
It's seriously wondering where government is going to find money to pay back these investors. Seriously, look at the domestic debt exchange program that we have gone through. Look at the debt that the Bank of Ghana has put on its books due to this GDP and some other reckless expenditure we have recorded or we have seen out of the Public Accounts Committee's report on them. It's so unfortunate. I am not too sure they will be able to make so much money to pay these depositors. The amount involved are so huge that I wonder if government really would want to do that. But you see, the unfortunate thing is that even if you are not going to pay the people and go retrieve or do whatever to Namwan, prosecute him. Let us see the end of this issue. And those of his properties that were confiscated and those other things they are doing, it looks like it's a musical chair they are dancing. They are dancing around. Today it is that, tomorrow is another. They will go in circles, we'll come back to square one, and they start the prosecution again. And so it's unfortunate. The last time we heard were about 69 or 67 charges raised against him. They've all been dropped. Now it's 39, and the next time may go to 3, may get to 1. And it's all about musical chair. I am not too sure what it is. And the unfortunate thing is that with all this, you see soldiers, you see police people guarding the person who is at the center of these issues, and you wonder whether government is complicit in these things to the extent that they could be giving protection to. Of course, he's a Ghanaian. If he goes to ask for protection from the service, they are obliged to do that. But you see, if you see the posting of government, it doesn't look like they are seriously interested in pursuing this case and bringing it to finality. And so that's the worry of some of us who are watching besides. And so I think that let's just see that they are ready to prosecute this case and bring it to finality. If the assets that were seized will be liquidated and some people's paid some portions of their money, at least half a loaf, they say, is better than none. And so I think that government should be seen to be taking serious actions to resolve the matter.
And just yesterday, I see that there was a right to information request asking the Attorney General to at least provide updates on the assets that were frozen, what the status of these assets are. I mean, why go ahead and put out the details when we know that's got to do with someone's investment as well, his private property? The case is not over yet. So don't you feel that the aggrieved customers of Men's Gold are being a bit impatient? At least just take time, let the legal processes work.
Blessed, are you saying impatient? Since when? Impatient, you mean? Oh, blessed, I thought you said we were all involved.
But you know, the wheel of justice, they say, grinds slowly, but eventually,
when people are dying by the day because their investment is locked up with some smart young man and government is being complicit in helping him dribble everybody every day. You talk about impatience. I think that they are not being impatient at all. At least for us to know that these are the properties that we have seized, this is how much worth it is, and this is how much money we owe the investors. And so at least they should be assured that even if those properties are liquidated, only half of their investment will be given back to them. It's assuring now. And so it's good they know some of these things, and then they can rest assured that at the end of the day, they will have their monies back. But if it comes to light, that even all those properties that were seized, most of them were not for him, then they will be more alarmed. Of course, they should know they are paid by now. They shouldn't just hang in the balance, not knowing exactly what the situation is. And so I think that it's good thing that they file that seeking information as to the exactitudes of the issues or the properties that were seized and how much value they have placed on them. I think it's good.
Okay, let's deal with the other stories we have this morning. The NPP and their tiebreaker. Initially, they were set out to break the E8. That agenda is being put on hold now, while we deal with two individuals who, came neck and neck in the just ended presidential special delegates conference. And that's got to do with Boache Ejako, the former energy minister. We also have one other Adainimo, yes, who will now be, heading into this weekend's election. But the party, first of all, and just last night we were talking about that on PM Express, the party is now indicating to us that they will vary the rules, get, a smaller size, a smaller number to decide who will, break the tie, and then move forward speedily to November 4, at least to find a flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party. And even before that exercise, the Daily Guide is reporting of Alan speaking tough on the attack on his agent. I recall him using words such as he will not tolerate indiscipline within the New Patriotic Party. He's also gone ahead to talk about how the values of the party, something he stood for dearly, is being compromised just at the last weekend's event. Your flag bearer, the party you belong to, John Mahama, has also been speaking about these attacks. Are you not, just simply hyping matters, trying to create the impression as though the NPP is not together on this?
No, Blessed, I don't think that's what we intend to put across. This is a party that has started itself about its democratic credentials. And so it's good that we hold them to the mantra they themselves have been putting across every day. I'm aware that Boache Ejako has released a statement this morning stating that he's withdrawing from the tiebreaker. Like you said earlier, it was breaking it. Now they are breaking their eyes. And from breaking ice, now they are now trying to break a tie. And so, as for breaking the 8, I think that it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but as for the ice, well, I don't know about that. Do you know of any?
You don't know about the Alan Chemante's issue of visiting the eye clinic where
I see. One of his agents I see. So that's the breaking of the ice, not the 8.
Yeah, so I said they moved from breaking 8, now they are breaking ice, and now they are breaking time. So every day they are breaking new things. And so that is the level they are now. And we as a Democratic Party would have to call them to understand that this is not the way things are. That we've just gone through our presidential and parliamentary elections, and we have not heard some of these things that we are seeing happening around them. Anytime they are involved in any particular election, it is one violence against the other, killing people, shooting of guns, maiming one another, punching, fighting. You see a presidential candidate ranting and shouting as if heaven is breaking loose. That's not the kind of people we would want to see leading us going forward. And so, yes, Alan Chimanti was so furious about the injustice being meted out to him and his supporters. It looks like there's a assistant candidate who is doing everything and everybody's helping to make sure that they break themselves. As for the 8, I'm not sure they are close to breaking it. And so for me, these are lessons for them to learn and to understand that Ghanaians are getting tired with their attitude, and it's high time they begin to look at themselves.
And here's how others also see it. Some say it's the most competitive internal reorganization process, as opposed to the NDC, which had a relatively smooth ride for President John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah, we had this move for President John Mahama, but there were other contestants, or they were contestants who contested with John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah, was it really a contest? Some say that wasn't a contest.
What was it? Was it a beauty contest? It was a contest. President, it was a contest, wasn't it? Didn't you see before? Did you see the other contestants? It was a contest. We had 3 people on the ballot. Unfortunately, before we drew very late in the day, and there were still 3 of them on the ballot. We had to vote for John Dramani Mahama out of them. So it was a contest, and we went through competitive bidding and all that. And so for me, it was a contest. You thought it was not a contest?
Looking at the personalities involved, the feeling is, oh, John Mahama had an upper hand. And it's the same for the New Patriotic Party, where many are saying, and just as you're pointing out, there's an establishment candidate appearing to go in the favor of one individual who's already serving in government. The feeling is the political parties appear to go for these ones, the ones who are giving you a better chance at getting more votes at the end of the day. I guess that's all you're doing as both the NDC and the NPP.
Is that why they will not allow a free and fair election to happen? We of course, we knew who we were going to vote for, but it really doesn't mean that we should go out of our way slapping people, breaking their eyes and doing all the unnecessary things, sacking people from their polling centers and then chasing them into their rooms for their presidential candidate to come and be ranting. We were not seeing doing any of the things. We knew who we were going to vote for. It's a democratic process. And we went through as much as we could and came out very successfully. Why can't they learn from us and do the same? It's amazing that we've always taken the lead in some of these things, but everything never learned from the NDC as to how the game is played. You have a system candidate, yes, we all know. So why don't you just allow him to go? Do you have to break people's eye to tell the whole world that you have a system candidate? No. I think they are not learning at all.
Some say that the NPP is becoming very much attractive. Is the reason for which you have as many as 10 individuals saying that they want to lead the New Patriotic Party, as opposed to your party, which only had 4 individuals. What's your take on that?
No, I'm sure they are hustling. This is not the first time we are seeing them do that. The last time we saw about 17 of them, and now we are seeing 10. I don't know what number we are going to get the next time around. But I'm sure that the way they do their things, it's what is causing some of them to want to. It's like in governance, they at the top there have the better loot, and then they share among themselves. So people think that that's the only way you can get to the top. If you speak to the grassroots, the MPP people who are the grassroots, it's not too easy for them. And so they feel that it's only when you get to the top that you can mask all the necessary work you need in the world. So maybe it is the world that is attracting them to the top. But to say that the parties are attracted, that is why. No, you see, democracy really doesn't always talk for large numbers. There's always lobbying behind the scene. There's always talking to people to understand that there's a queue. Somebody would have to come first, the next person will come after that. And so we go through the system like that. So the fact that one person, 2 or 3 are vying for a position, 10 are not coming, 70 are not coming, does not really mean that the party is not attractive. Can't you see the number of people who are lined up that you can count in the NDC who could be successors to John Dramani Mahama? But once we understand that at this point in our life is the best bet to lead us into the 2024 elections and to lead Ghana again for the next 4 years starting from 2024. Right? We've all given him the head start to help do that.
Right, but here's the case as well. Some others are beginning to do their own pairing, trying as much as possible to look at the odds already, even before the New Patriotic Party finds one man who would lead them into the 2024 elections. And some are beginning to pair, for instance, John Mahama, Bawumia scenario. There are those who are looking at John Mahama, Alan Kojo-Tremating scenario. There are those who are looking at John Mahama, Kennedy Ejapon scenario. At least, let me take that first 3. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, it's normal. Any political watcher and any serious political party worth coming to government will do these pairings. And so you always want to look for whoever is coming, your opponent, and see what are his strengths and weaknesses are. You map out your strategies to outwit any of them that comes along. And so for us as a party, whoever, the last time we were saying that even if they brought all 10 of them on the ballot paper to contest against John Dramani Mahama, we know John Dramani Mahama will floor all of them. And so any of them that is brought should not be an issue to us at all. Kennedy Ejapon, who will go on national TV and be ranting and asking people to kill others and break their heads. Kennedy Ejapon, who will go on national TV and say that all Evans and guns should be slapped and should be clapped. Is that the one we should be thinking about becoming a president of Ghana? As for Alan Chimanti, he's lost the jest and then the Alan K fever that was around him. He's lost it long ago, and so we are not too bothered about him. And the lying Baulaya, I am not sure anybody in the NDC or Ghana at large takes him serious any longer. There are several things he said himself that today we can play back to him, and I'm sure he will bow his head. So there isn't anything new he's bringing on board. He's been known as the best liar so far in this country. And so we are not too bothered about him. There are many principles and policies he espoused in the past that now that he's in the driving seat or helping the president to drive, because the president has always said that it is his ideas that he's driving, even though the last time he himself came saying that he has his own ideas to drive. Well, we are not too sure which is the true situation. And so we are not too bothered about whichever of them emerge finally as the winner in November 4th primaries that they are going to. So we are battle ready for any of them. We will just play back their own tapes to them, and that should be enough for us. But we are solid on the ground. That is why we are putting ourselves together. Our policies, our manifesto, we are putting this together to make sure that Ghanaians run along with us. So we are not bothered. We are not bothered at all. We are solid on the ground.
Okay, the NDC is busy already. Your ultimatum to the central bank governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, is expired. You gave him 21 days to leave office. Today, we understand there will be a forum organized by some groups, Arise Ghana, just to point out why they believe it's time for Ernest Addison, doctor, to get out of office. But there's an analysis on that in the Business Finder today, interesting one. And one doctor, Kofi Amponsa Bediako, believes that your attack, and by extension I'm talking about the minority in parliament, their attack on the central bank appears not to be justified. Is the reason for which he believes a lot more time needs to be given to the central bank governor. Do you feel your party should be reconsidering that decision now? The decision, first of all, to occupy the central bank, and why not give some more time to Dr. Ernest Addison? This is a man, facing a crisis.
You see, the problem we have is that these things didn't come out of the blue. There were signs, there were signals. I don't go keep hammering these issues. I don't also keep talking about it. We have spoken on several occasions about this happening that we are experiencing now. We knew the things that were going to happen when he was printing so much money into the system, when they were doing things so recklessly. They were warned, and they never heeded any advice that were given by the NDC, especially in opposition to them. And you see, in governance, there's always a team voice that speaks loudest, and it's always good for you to listen to them. If you don't, then you do it at the peril of your own life. And so for us, it's like they are taking Ghanaians for a ride. There's so much impunity in the system that you keep warning them, they won't listen, they won't take any of your advice, and at the end of the day, they plunge all of us into a situation that we find very difficult to come out of. Just watch the finance minister, the presidency, and all those people that were responsible for the economy. When there were times that we warned that where we're heading to, our debt was becoming unsustainable, it was high time we put a brake on them, they wouldn't heed. And so, even at the last hour when we told them that we would have to go to the IMF and make sure that we recorrect the situation that we're in, they never heeded. They did things with impunity. At the last hour when we were in coma, they had to put us in a wheelchair and drive us to the IMF. And so these are some of the situations we felt that if persuasion fails, sometimes force need be applied. And so as for demonstrations, they are part of the governance system that anybody can employ any day, any time. And so I don't see why they are scared about parliamentarians going to occupy Bank of Ghana. And the police and government is doing everything to frustrate their effort and to make sure that it doesn't happen. I really don't understand what they intend to achieve by some of these things. But for me, it's a process we have to go through. It's only in this part of our world that it's difficult for people to resign. Once you falter so much and plunge a whole country into this situation, it is high time you resigned. And so if you are not resigning and some people want to put some pressure on you, it's a democratic process that will go through all the time. So there's nothing.
Yeah, but the question is Ghana
to me. And so
is the picketing necessary? I guess that's the biggest question now.
Is it not a democratic process? Is it not a democratic process?
Yeah, but that's a security installation. Money is being kept there. The president says that popular refrain that money does not like noise.
As for some of those excuses, they are the jokes of the century. Are we going to the vote to go and take back out of the vote? So that's not what we are going to do. We are going through a democratic process. I'm not sure we're going to enter the Bank of Ghana offices and to do whatever we were going to. It's the premise we are just coming to present a petition to them and to force them to resign. That's all we are doing.
Yeah, but you have leaders. These are leading figures. They'll come along with so many people, the followers. And in fact, some people who might not even be members of the NDC could take advantage of this and, begin to cause mayhem around that security installation. The Bank of Ghana is just too sensitive, isn't it?
It's too sensitive for picketing. We are not picketing, we are demonstrating to the area to represent our these things and petition and go back. I'm not sure there's anything so risky about it. So is it about picketing there or about the route to use to the Bank of Ghana?
No, you see, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that even if you're doing demonstrations, I recall the last one you did, you wanted to, send a petition to Flagstaff at Jubilee House. You had some challenges with the security, obviously because of the type of installation that is, the Jubilee House. Well, I mean, when it comes to the central bank, you agree that that's much more, fragile as compared to even the Jubilee House.
So was it also because we're going to disrupt activities at the Jubilee House, or monies or anything that has to do with cash is there that we're going to pilfer and do things with? That's why we are not allowed to go to the Jubilee House. So it's not about the Bank of Ghana per se being an installation with cash and all those other things. That's why we are not being allowed there. It's just one of the normal gimmicks of government and then the security services to prevent people from airing their views. Do you think parliamentarians are not knowledgeable enough to know what the content of the Bank of Ghana is so much so that would want to go there?
Can't you find any other venue much more bigger, spacious for your members to demonstrate and to make that case to the central bank governor?
But why do I want to present a petition to the governor of Bank of Ghana and I'll send it to the Flagstaff House or I'll send it to the Independence Square? Why should I do that? Then what is the essence of whatever I want to drive home? It's about the essence of why you want to demonstrate. And that's where the governor is, and that's where we want to go make the presentation to him at. Why should I go to the Independence Square to go and present a petition to who? So that he will come there to come and meet me. There's nothing weird, there's nothing strange, there's nothing fearful about the parliamentarians who are going to present a petition to the governor at the premises of the Bank of Ghana. I don't think so.
I see.
You think so?
Well, the concern is about security. That's just my concern, though. Once you're able to rein in your members, once we have peace, once we have security, that's just my concern, sir.
So once we have security, the securities will be with us, and they are within the premises of the Bank of Ghana. I'm not sure the security forces there would be pushed over and people will enter into the bank. And sincerely, I'm not sure there's money in the premises of Bank of Ghana. You think so?
Oh, the money is finished?
The money is not there.
The money is finished? Well, you tell me. No, I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not there at all. I don't know what's in there. Maybe the central bank governor will tell us. Maybe, just maybe.
Oh, the money is not there. The money is elsewhere.
So some say, do we believe Forson when he says the money is finished? It's all gone. Anyway, that's an interesting one to explore.
The money is all gone.
Okay, so but in spite of this, the Daily Guide newspaper, page 9, we seem to see some effects of the fiscal policy measures that the central bank governor is taking. For instance, there's a story about how the CD continues to stabilize against the US dollar, opening the week, for instance, at 11.33 cities. That's against the US dollar. That's gaining some 0.44% as the newspaper is reporting, the Daily Guide newspaper is reporting this morning. So at least signs that a good omen, if we give him some time, he'll be able to stabilize things. You don't believe so? You don't believe that he needs a few more days just to put things in order?
For me, it's still worrying. It's still above 10, and that's the problem we have. You see, the issue is how far have we come? How quickly have we gotten there? And if we think that our policies are working, how fast are we getting down? And so it's the rate of the depreciation that we would want to look at to see whether we are really having whether the policies being implemented are having so much effect on the rate. And so for some of us, that's what we are looking at. We rose so quickly because things were so bad, and we are not falling as quickly as we rose. And so for some of us, we wish that it comes as low as to 3 or as to 4. But the question is, can we get there? That's the most critical thing. And when we have gotten to the number of things that have gone wrong, I'm not too sure we'll be able to correct them. Because, of course, a typical Ghanaian, what we know is about increasing prices, not necessarily reducing them. And so the effect is already here with that. But as much as we can, if we can calm down, why not? That's the best anybody will look for its country. But it looks like our leaders are not learning so fast to be able to put practical and pragmatic efforts in place to make sure that we calm down as much as we rose. And so for some of us watching, it's a good sign, yes, of course, but we wish that it gets down more than we are seeing now.
I see. But then on the issue of the police indicating that it would not be able to provide at least security for the planned protest or picketing now, how is that sitting with your members of your party now?
I'm sure members of parliament themselves always have an aide. And they are also police officers. And it's all about police officers guarding a procession. It's interesting when they tell you that they will not be able to provide security. And before you get to your target end, there are already security officers there. Look at the hoteliers who were going to demonstrate the other day, about 2 or 3 days ago. The police told them that they won't be able to provide security. But before they got to the end, there were securities there waiting for them. So for some of these things, they are just gimmicks, and that the security services usually want to employ to cause people to want to refrain from the actions that they intend to hold. And so I think it's time we begin to look at. For the past few years, demonstrations that we have had have not been as violent as they used to be. Ghanaians by nature, we are not violent. It's only when somebody pushes you to the wall that sometimes people try to respond. But generally, it's about what we intend to do with these demonstrations. We get there, we get the results, and we move away. And so when they behave as if we are generally violent and we always want to involve in violence, it's unfortunate. How many police people would we need to guard these parliamentarians who already have police details with them? I'm not sure we need so much. They should begin to rethink their position. Yesterday, I heard our leaders in parliament saying that the first meeting they had with them was very cordial. And so they are surprised that they are taking an attitude now. And I do want to believe that some unseen hands out there are forcing them to do the things they want to do. Dan Parry, as we've all come to know, is a fine gentleman who doesn't necessarily tolerate nonsense in court, and he always wants to play with the book. So I'm sure they can always get back to the table. Fit is still a few days away. We can right the wrongs and Nigerians and any other Ghanaian that is going to join them go on this peaceful walk demonstration to also go and present a petition to the governor of Bank of Ghana. Let's respect each other. Yeah. These are democratic processes that we always have to go through. Is it more expensive than the who's experiencing around the South region? Why won't citizens be allowed to air their views freely, and then when they get satisfied, they move back, rather than stifling them out of the situations and forcing them against the wall to do things that
and since you're bringing that up, our own internal democratic processes are underway. The district level elections are expected to kickstart in the coming days, and yet political parties without representation are asking the EC to convene an IPAC meeting, an emergency one, over the voter registration exercise. The Daily Graphic is talking about that on page 17. There's also another interesting story there. We'll look at it later. But the point about the local level elections, why has it become of concern to political parties when we know that at the decentralized level, you don't have to be on the ticket of any of the political groupings? The NDC threatening to sue. Now we have the political parties without representation saying they need an IPAC meeting. An IPAC meeting over a district level elections?
I'm not sure necessarily it's about the political parties interested in the local level elections to the extent that they want to necessarily push their individuals or their party people in there. It's about the process leading to that particular election that we are talking about, especially about the registration, the limited registration exercise. These are things we've gone through on several occasions as Ghanaians. Limited registration has always been there. When it has to do with major registration, we go through limited registration, always precede district level elections. And don't forget that the next major election, it's in 2024 next year. And all these people who are finding themselves into the register are not only going there necessarily because of the local level elections, but also because of the national elections. And so if it is seen that the electoral commissioner, who is supposed to be an independent arbiter and institution, is trying to deny free access into the register, then it begins to make people wonder what their motivations are. We have had these issues on several occasions, or this exercise on several occasions has always been at the electoral levels where people within an electoral area will be allowed to come and register during the limited registration exercise. But why is the EC making it so difficult now for only district offices to be used in the registration? Can we imagine the number of people who would have turned 18 after the last registration exercise was done? And for some of us who have very large constituency or district that spans even beyond to some overseas areas, it's a challenge to bring people from very far places to come to the district capital just to come and get themselves registered. And so that's the challenge most of us are seeing. And we don't know why EC will be doing some of the things they are doing. And for me, I want to sound a caution to Jane Adokwe Mensah, that she's getting a missed call from Gabon. She's getting a missed call from Gabon. It is the inaction of the Electoral Commission in Gabon that is saying yesterday, and she should be careful some of the actions she's taking. If she's trying to put so much pressure on us as a people, and the people cannot take it any longer, the worst may happen. We are not wishing for that. But we are saying that she should be careful some of the signs. Say that again?
Yeah, I was just talking about the fact that pictures and videos circulating just yesterday or last night, pointing out to the deposed Gabonese president, Ali Bongo, allegedly pleading for more support, asking people to make noises, beginning to grow a lot of reaction on social media. The point is, even if democracy goes down, even in Ghana, everyone's going to pay the price for it. You in the political class will pay a price for it, even for us in the media as well. So we just need to protect what we have.
Of course, everybody is going to pay the price. That is why we are cautioning her that let's just live by the books. The IPAC is the one that advises the EC on how we Ghanaians feel things should go. It is our own money. It is our own electoral commission. It is our own election. All these things that we are fighting for will come to naught if there is a destabilization of the system. So Jane Adokwe Mensah should be very careful and to listen to word of caution and counsel. She should be very, very careful the way she's treading. I don't know what gives her all that confidence to do the things that she's doing. Some of us are getting incensed about her actions. I just don't know what is making her so adamant, so proud, and so insolent that she wouldn't listen to anybody. She should be very, 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 very careful. We are treading on dangerous ground. The anger in people is building up, and the earlier we tell her in her face, the better it is for all of us. She should be very, very careful. Things are not going too well with us as Ghanaians.
Okay.
Yes, we might have taken it for all this while, but she should be very, very careful. Things are not too good for us. Look at the way people were agitating the other day, the other independent parties who don't have representation in parliament. We should be very, very careful about the things we do. What would it cost her to send these registration centers to the electoral areas that we have long been doing? I just don't get what the problem is. She should be very, very careful.
All right.
A word to the wise, they say it's enough.
Yeah, and in the South, that's where you find yourself as a member of parliament, the parliamentary candidate for the South Tone constituency. Maxwell Lukuto, thank you for spending some time with us. Now calm down, get some akple and some fetridici, and then, relax for the day.
Thank you so much, Buja.
Indeed, we'll see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, we're checking out of the newspaper. We'll do sports afterwards. Please stay.
Good morning. Welcome to AM Sports with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And on September 27, the Ghana Football Association is expected to assemble internally to elect new leadership of the football governing body. One person who wants to become the president of the Ghana Football Association is George Afriyie. However, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, a board member of Accra House of Folk, a former chairman of the Ghana Football Association, says that George Afriyie is not qualified to contest and occupy the position of president of the Ghana Football Association. He was speaking on Prime Take.
Well, George Afriyie has been there before.
As vice president, not the leader.
Look, you've flown before in an aircraft.
I have, many times.
Anytime. In fact, some airlines that fly long routes, not just the co-pilot.
The longest flight I've had was 18 hours.
Yes, 18 hours is good. At times they have 2 pilots and a co-pilot. When you are not the captain, you are not the captain. You are the second in command. Anything that the captain will say, you have to listen, no matter how good you are. You follow me? So I believe strongly that he was a co-pilot during Kwesi time. And when he allowed certain things to take place, some of the blames they are putting on Kwesi now, some of the blames can be put on him for not coming out to talk about it. I think you follow me? So that in itself, to me, doesn't qualify him now. I won't say he is disqualified for life. No, it doesn't qualify him now to come to the scene at all.
Wow, that's quite an interesting one.
Yeah, it doesn't qualify to come to the scene. But I believe strongly if he rather teams up with the present leadership and they work in unison, it will be good for the country and for football in general.
But the claims are that the current leadership of the FA is not interested in bringing other members into the family. And in fact, one of the things people often use against the GFA president was the fact that he granted an interview and said that he will never work with his enemies. He will not win an election and bring his enemies to come and work. So some of the things people actually claim.
He said that.
Yes, he said it.
No, but you know, when you get to power newly, even in politics, you come out with all sort of statements.
In other words, he has learned?
You follow me?
Yes.
He has learned his lesson by now. And you see that in his, if it happens to get the next term, he will do things differently.
To this channel tomorrow on the AM show, we'll bring you an extensive conversation with the former chairman of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. He's our guest on Prime Take. Now let's hear from President Kate Okreko, and he says that there are structures in place that are supposed to help with referee in the country. Many people actually say one of the cancers that has affected Ghana football is poor referee, and he says his administration is putting everything in place to ensure that referee in the upcoming Ghana football season is a success.
Implement the following again to enhance the act of refereeing. 1, to give all first-tier referees and assistant referees access to the FIFA Red. I'm sure those of you who are into refereeing, you know exactly what it means by FIFA Red. To ensure periodic match analysis through the video test at least once a week. Again, it is the determination of the FA to use written test results as part of the key criteria for promotion and demotion of referees. It's also important to note that the FA is very, very committed towards ensuring that referees' indemnity are paid promptly. Indeed, I would say with all the smiles on my face that at the moment we do not owe any Premier League referee. Going into the new season, The Football Association intends to make weekly payments to all our GPL referees. Weekly payments. Indeed, we would also be providing 3 sets of uniforms to all our GPL referees going into the new season.
President of the Ghana Football Association, Kaito Kweku, speaking there. Let's go to Europe and specifically to England. Last year season actually, there was a debate about who is the best midfielder in the competition. It was between Casemiro of Manchester United and Arsenal's Thomas Partey. Well, Zinchenko, who has played with some of the best midfielders in the competition, with the likes of Fernandinho, Rodri, Thomas Partey, Casemiro, says that Thomas Partey is the most underrated midfielder in the English Premier League.
Player in your eyes in the Premier League?
I think Thomas Partey.
Really?
Yes.
Is he better than Casemiro for you?
He's absolutely world-class player as well, Casemiro. Champions League say about it, but for me, if you want me to choose one, Thomas Partey.
Oh, thank you very much.
I had debate in my head.
Yeah.
Who is actually the best holder midfielder I ever played with? The debate was between Fernandinho, Thomas Partey, and Rodri. But Thomas Partey is, I don't know.
But it's
listen, I mean,
Rio's left the room.
He's great, but he's better than Rodri.
He has everything. Rodri is absolutely fit so well for City system. If you take him out, it's different City. He's like the main detail there. Because for me, at City, this is the hardest position to play. It's the hardest. And Rodri suits there so well.
Quality.
Not overall qualities. Honestly.
Now, let's move on and talk about other stories, specifically in Spain. Following the success of the Spanish women's national team of winning the Women's World Cup for the first time in the history of the club, the dominant headlines went to the president of the association, in the person of Luis Rubiales. He chose to kiss one of the players on the lips, and this has degenerated into massive conversation with people in Spain asking him to resign from his position as president of Spanish football. Well, he told the Spanish Football Federation Congress that he was not going to resign from his position and that his commitment to football was unalloyed. He also insisted that what he has given to Spanish football, he should not be forced to step down simply because of a case. Well, FIFA decided to step in and suspend him indefinitely, which meant that he would have absolutely nothing to do with football again. His mother decided to go on hunger strike, and for 3 days, she hadn't eaten. She decided to seek refuge in a church. Now, she's been taken to hospital because she's not eating. The priest says she's become extremely weak and dizzy. So reports have suggested that she's currently in hospital for medical care after she decided that she was not going to eat. And the reports went on to say that she locked herself in pastoral church in her hometown of Motril in southern Spain on Monday to protest the treatment of her son after he was suspended by FIFA for forcibly kissing World Cup player Jennifer Hermoso at the final. A priest at the church, who identified himself as Father Antonio, told reporters that Bea has been taken to the hospital on Wednesday. And it went on to say that she became anguished and dizzy and had complained of irregularities with her heartbeat, Father Antonio added. He said on her son that Rubiales had spoken with his mother before he was taken to the hospital. But before I go, a happy birthday to the daughter of the board chairman of the National Youth Authority, Seth Panwum. The daughter is Wumpine Ruth Panwum, and she's celebrating her birthday. Her father says, it is not the duty of a father to love you, but to show you that indeed you are loved. That's a message from the father. And he also says, may whatever you desire in life come to pass. And then also a happy birthday to Ivana Chawe, who is also celebrating her birthday today. And that of a former Executive Council member of the Ghana Football Association, Linia Adi, also celebrating her birthday today. This is our wrap-up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
It's a beautiful morning. Thanks for staying with us on the AM show. Time now to look at our big stories for the morning. Guess who's joining us in studio? Peter Lanchini Tubu, who's West Member of Parliament. We've been trying for so long to see him in studio. Fortunately, Parliament is on recess, so he's affording him some time to join us this morning. Good morning to you. Oh, welcome. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Indeed. And later on, we'll be joined by the Deputy Trade Minister and MP for Nshai, Honourable Stephen Amwa, who will also be joining the conversation. It's been a very busy week. Lots of stories making the rounds already, but on top of it is the New Patriotic Party's Special Delegates Conference. You're a member of the NDC, so it's interesting when I have NDC individuals talk about what's happening on the other side. The tiebreaker may no longer be a case because now we know that Boakye Ejaku is indicating that due to some legal concerns, he will not be part of this weekend's primaries. And part of the concerns, I believe, is because the party says they're changing the rules of the game. They want to reduce the numbers. So, just the National Executive Council will get to decide who makes it to the top 5. Looking at the concerns from the side of Boakye Ejaku and just opposing the party's position, you don't feel that he has no case at all?
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to my constituents, the Wawes people who have given me the title Honorable. My name is actually Peter Lantinetogo, Superintendent Retired, Honorable MP for Wawes. Because Honorable is for the people of Wawes. Yeah. And anytime I have the opportunity on air, I have to acknowledge them because they have brought me this far. Yeah. And I think that I am representing them, meeting their expectations. But let's come to the MPP. What they did was just a selection of 5 people to go in for the presidential primaries. What they did was to create an electoral college skewed towards the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That constituency is Bawumia's constituency. So I was expecting him to hit at least some 80% of the total vote.
Oh, 80? Yeah, 80. Not even the 60?
Not anything less than 80%. It's a mark of failure because that constituency is actually his constituency. Why am I saying this? We have over 208,000 people who are going to vote on the D-Day, and you have 961 people as a sample. And that was really a very bad sample. Why I'm saying a bad sample? Over 193,000 of the people who will be voting are polling station executives. They were not represented in the sample. All we had was a constituency chairman upwards to the national executive.
Yeah, but you cannot get a constituency chairperson if it's not been elected from the base of the party.
But what I'm saying, the fact that they elected a constituency chairman doesn't mean that the constituency chairman carries aspirations of all the people in the constituency. If you have polling station people represented in there, you will have a very different picture. And that is why I tell people, even if you have faith in that election and you are part of the 5 and you are actually last, the 5th person, nobody should be surprised that at the end of the day, probably even the last person will win the elections. Because what happened on the D-Day where they elected 5 people was the fact that 961 people decided to go and reduce the number. So virtually what they did was not to give somebody the first position or the second position. They reduced the number to 5. And that number 5, each individual in that number 5 has the potential to become the presidential candidate of the MPP as they prepare to go to opposition. Yeah. But I think that sometimes I love the MPP for being strategic. You know what they are doing? They do know that, as a matter of fact, 2024 is a dead game.
They think so?
No, it's a dead game. They can't get closer to victory. Never. No Ghanaian is thinking about MPP in 2024. For God's sake, what at all will we want to find in MPP? What at all do you want them to do again? For all 8 good years, they've run this country aground. The last time the Minister of Finance came to Parliament and said we're turning the corner. If you know what mathematics is in terms of quadratic equations and parabolas, a parabola is a point, the dipping point, that turning point that he's talking about. We've not even gotten there yet. So my minority leader told him, who've not even seen the corner. We can't turn the corner. So if you look at what is happening in this country, the fact that they've run down the economy, and if you are reducing inflation from 54.1% to 43.2%, and you are thinking that it's an achievement, when you actually took inflation between 14 to 15% in this country, and you look at look at the exchange rate, everything that is working, businesses are collapsing. In fact, people are packing out of this country. And for you to be thinking that MPP is still an option, you should be Ghanaian enough to tell them in the face that this is not right.
How about the nature, the competitive nature of the exercise? The belief is that the party will come out stronger. They have 10 individuals. The party has been able to streamline that to 6 now. We're heading for a tiebreaker. It tells you how tough the delegates of the NPP.
My brother, they were 117. 17 people came out, but it didn't change anything. Professor Mills won the elections. Let me tell you something. I am saying they are very strategic because when you read the lines, the political colors will tell you 2024 is a done deal for the National Democratic Congress, even though we need to up our game to get a good percentage, a very respectable percentage, to say that we have won the elections overwhelmingly. Apart from that, they are looking at why will we lose election and just lose? No, we need to lose and gain something. Losing, yes, we will lose the election. Gaining what? Let's build our party for the future. So let's push Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia forward. Okay, for the first time we have a northern leading the MPP so that he can help take away the account tag on the MPP. But if you go and lose, it is not the fault of the party. You led the party into losing the elections. So that next time, if he's not even the presidential candidate, but it will be in history recorded that a northerner belonging to the Dombo faction.
So you think they're simply setting the vice president up for failure?
Or they've set him up for failure totally. And he's so excited to also fail.
Okay, but things could turn around. And you are the one telling me just a couple of minutes ago that the just ended Super Delegates Conference may not be the true reflection of the grassroots of the party. If that's the case, then it may not be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who would end up being on the ticket of the NPP. If that happens, we're likely to see Kennedy Ejapon, we're likely to see Alan Kuju Chirmating, who came third. We're likely to see the Agric Minister, who's in the 4th position after the Super Delegates Conference.
When you mentioned my big brother, the Agric Minister, yes. I love. The Agric Minister had the opportunity to end his campaign when he was Minister for Agric, and he messed it up. The economy of this country has a backbone we call agriculture. If you are made an Agric Minister and you intend to become president of this country or even contest to be president, you use the position of the minister as a minister and let the Ghanaian people know, listen, the backbone of this economy is Agric. Bring some transformation, some innovation. Let the people be driven along a particular path to say, oh, this is the way to go. And nobody would even be telling you, come on, you wouldn't be telling people
planting
that you want
for food and jobs.
Listen. Planning for food and job, look at it on paper, very beautiful concept. Go and look at the outcomes.
He says the prices
right? No, look at the outcomes.
Reduced. Plantain significantly dropped in terms of pricing.
Right.
And it was all over the place. He was distributing it, going to
please,
circle and giving out. I'm sure you had some of your share.
I mean, those euphoric supplementary activities, I don't really take them serious. Go to the ground and ask the people, what is the impact of planting for food and jobs? Where are the food? Where are the jobs? Right? When you get food, it creates jobs. Where are the jobs? He's done almost 7 years in power and he's gone. All he's done to himself is that he's been able to have the capacity to be able to contest to become the president of this country. But he's trying to contest to become a candidate. I think when he was asked what is the vision, what he wants to do, he said his vision is actually to become the candidate of the NPP.
You don't feel that the policy was sabotaged in any way? Because he was complaining about it. In fact, you're from the northern parts of the country. I recall the story about how our donkeys, even our donkeys, are now very much conversant with the smuggling of fertilizer. And they do that. They just give the orders. They take it to the neighboring countries. So it's not entirely his fault that the PFJ Phase 1 did not work.
You see, what we fail to learn in this country is that if you are bringing up a policy and you fail to think about local content, it fails flat. It's a stillborn matter. If you are bringing up a policy, please let the stakeholders buy into the policy. Right. You are talking about farmers. Were the farmers so conscious about what planting for food and jobs was coming to do? Were they ready to get involved? Did they know the role they were supposed to play? You see, when you have a strategy for people, and you think that this strategy will succeed, that particular strategy must be everybody's everyday business. that we all know where we're supposed to do. I know my role to play. Even if I'm a taxi driver, I know my role to play. If I'm a farmer, I know my role to play. If I cart goods from the cocoa area to town, I'm going to carry tomatoes from Wichao in my constituency to Teshiman. I should know that I am doing all this, but gradually, look, this is the piece of the puzzle. Together, we are building a great nation using agriculture.
Okay, so he will be Dr. Ekoto would be a no match.
He's a no match for anybody. And you can't.
He's a no match for John.
No. Listen.
You're dismissing him?
Totally, I've dismissed him, even in his own party.
Not even Kennedy Japan?
Kennedy Japan? No, Kennedy Japan knows that he's making a show. He's trying to give a showdown to anybody to understand that, listen, I am showing my face for the future. But he knows, as a matter of fact, he's very excited for placing second.
Yeah.
And I think that he'll be very excited placing second again. And let whoever wins the presidential primaries of the MPP go to lose. And then the next time, probably he could back up himself.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin, a member of the MPP economic management team. Yeah. The solid team, he was a member of the solid team that gradually became gaseous. What did they do?
Yeah, you were told he was part of the solid team.
He's his part, not what I was told. I know his part.
But you were told, you didn't see him play.
Listen, he was a part of the solid team, the team that messed us up.
You feel he can't run away to say, and we've seen some of his statements pointing out that, look, there was someone in charge after all.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I think that his vision is actually the one that gave him out. He said he wants to build a huge superstructure on the successes of the Akufo-Addo administration. And that is a failure. You know why? The President Akufo-Addo's administration has left a legacy of disappointment. There is no structure for you to build a superstructure on. What President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is leaving for this country is disappointment, disgrace, embarrassment, and the worst of all. Look, history has shown that he is going to go down history as the worst president in our entire history from 1957 to date. And he knows that. And you want to come and build a superstructure on such a failed foundation? Where do you want to go?
Given his track record, the fact that he's been around for quite some time now, the belief is he's going to give a run for John Mahama's money if indeed he ends up being the presidential candidate of the NPP, don't you think?
Well, if it's all about time, listen, it's not about how long you live in life that matters. It's what is the impact of your life. I always talk about three things: impact, relevance, and time. What impact will he make now that he couldn't make? What is his relevance in the MPP and Ghana in particular that he couldn't make? And looking at the time, your age, and the fact that you've contested before, and for you to follow President Nana Addo for 8 good years, what piece of advice did you give?
For the record, it's not 8 years. Alan Kojo Chirmatin has not been in government for 8 years.
Listen, his party's been in government for 8 years.
Yeah,
and
but not Alan.
Yes,
he resigned.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin was a key member of the Nana Addo administration. And I think that being a key member, all you ought to do was to provide some solid support to ensure that government performs better.
But this is one man who has consistently contested President Akufo-Addo. He's done so. He has also, aside contesting, President Akufo-Addo, contested, and he's still contesting now for the presidential slot of the party. Does it not suggest that at least he has a vision of his own, something he wants to do to transform Ghana? He says he calls this the great transformation plan. Yes, that's how he calls it.
See, let me say something. If you want to talk about transformation, in an environment where nobody is talking about reforms, nobody is talking about restructuring, you can never transform an institution, you can never transform a country that has never been reformed or never been restructured. Transformation is an act that begins in the mind. Even if you go to the Bible, it tells you, be ye transformed by renewing your mind. Without a mental renewal, Ghana cannot be transformed. So if you talk about the Great Transformation Program, I just listened to him and I smiled. And I said, probably, well, it is just kind of jargon, these slogans. But listen, nobody within the MPP can promise better than the President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration.
Oh, really?
They have promised over the roof.
But you have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who says he'll be his own man. He's bringing, Ghana to a state of digital transformation. At least he's giving us a sense of where he wants to take the political party to.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should acknowledge the fact that if you are talking about digital transformation, somebody brought the digital backbone to Ghana. And that backbone is an infrastructural backbone that was supposed to lift this country to another level. Unfortunately, the NDC lost the election in 2016. So what he's doing is just top-dressing what NDC dreamed of doing. And I'm sure that if President Nana Addo was still around, we'll talk about digitizing Ghana. I'm telling you, we have gone further than what the president is doing today.
But then we know that, for instance, if you take a look at the contest and how it's going to pan out, if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ends up on that ticket, he said, and of course that infamous quote which is making the rounds in social media, causing a lot of controversy, he's told us that he's beaten John Mahama before, he will do that again. That's what he's told us.
Who is saying that?
And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he says he's beaten John Mahama before.
You know, after Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in his political dream, he thinks that the MPP will make him a presidential candidate. And for that matter, he's believing that he's the next president. And everybody knows that even from the lips of Kennedy Ajapong, the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior, who is now contesting to become the MPP's presidential candidate, he will tell you that solid team that led the country down into the gutter, none of them has the capacity to be able to come on his own and say, I want to do something good for Ghana. This is their own person. I know for the fact that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is just a non-starter. Let him come around. We'll give him a good fight for his money. But it doesn't matter what. I think that I want to salute the people of Asin North. There is some new politics that they introduced in this country. Okay. This country was going towards what we call moneycracy. From Asin North, the people of Asin North told us, listen, it doesn't matter how much money you share. What we've decided to do is to vote for somebody we believe that he can provide us with good leadership. Is that to say
you're buying into the suspicion that incumbency advantage is playing towards the favor of the vice president?
I don't know what is. Of course, he's the vice president, and it's expected that he will take advantage of that. But he's also be careful. Because what happened in Asino, within their party, they can do whatever they want to do. But getting to the general level where Ghanaians are concerned, the Asino story is burning like wildfire. Bring the money. We will take your money, but we'll assess you, we'll evaluate you, very particularly your past record. If you look at what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have said from 2016 to date, and the performance of his government, I don't think that he should even have the guy to go and say that, I want to lead the party. Even the MPP themselves knows that if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to lead the party, they won't have the moral courage to go out there and go and campaign. Campaigning on what? Campaigning on the failed promises? Campaigning on what? Campaigning on the fact that he's imprisoned the city with the key with the IGP and it has escaped? Campaigning on what? That you took $1 from 4 cities and now almost 12 cities? Is that the credibility you want to stand on? No, please, listen. In transformations, leaders carry people from where they are to where they ought to be and not where they want to be. We thought that the President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration was going to lift Ghana for 8 years to where we ought to be and not where we actually want to be. Unfortunately for them, it's almost 8 years. We are not even getting closer to where we want to be. But as for the where we ought to be, it remains a mirage.
Okay, let's say good morning to Stephen Amwa, the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, and also Dr. Stephen Amwa, and also he happens to be a Member of Parliament for Nshaisu. Good morning, Doc. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
I mean, I was looking forward to Saturday so you could be a polling agent for either Adainimo or Wache Jacob, but you know, it looks like that's not happening.
I don't know whether any Member of Parliament was actually a polling station agent. No.
Because Supo was looking forward to that. He says, "Well, I want to see Dr. Stephen Amwa, being Supo in studio with us." He was looking forward to that.
No, say he did. NDC. NDC was
and that's a great way.
On communist inferior tactics and propaganda.
I see. You wait until he starts talking.
They had propaganda secretary.
Oh.
They only changed the caption. I mean, so they officialize propaganda. It's never done anywhere apart from those communist inferior tactic days that some countries that, for the sake of ethics and respect, I wouldn't want to mention.
It appears that your party may not have the headache of running the tiebreaker anymore. It appears Wache Jacob, as we understand through the statement he's issued, is withdrawing from the race. Is that a development that you welcome?
Actually, I haven't heard what you say.
Okay.
If it is true, because
but it is true.
Exclusively, I've been engaged, so it's possible.
Okay,
but if he's done that, I think he's shown statesmanship, and it will actually save MPP the Herculean task of going through 3 elections before against the NDC. So I think it's a good news.
Yeah, but the concern is that that's happening obviously because of the, it appears a whole new set of rules are being introduced now by the council of the party, the reason for which he believes, this will not be too well, for the party. You had 961 people.
Let's discuss more important
I get your point, but you had more than 961 people deciding who gets to make it to the top 5. Now you come to the
Are you allowing me to talk, or you are just speaking this?
No, but
don't come in. You said a lot of things. Now let me start and say you stop.
Oh, no. Let me ask the question. So now you come to the tiebreaker. Yeah, now you come to the tiebreaker. And, the party appears to be setting its own rules for the game.
I don't know what you're talking about. So if that's what you see, that's fine.
Let the party allow the 6 of
You are okay with what it is that the party has
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, because yesterday on PM Express, your Deputy General Secretary was here.
I've told you I haven't heard. And you are saying, I don't know. You want to force me into believing.
You haven't heard that your party is changing the rules?
Not at all, I haven't.
I see. But what's your take on the outcome of the election itself? Now we have 4, at least Dynamo will be making it through if Boache Jacko doesn't sail through. You have the ultimate decision to make on November 4.
Okay, thank you very much. My regards to our viewers. But before then, please give me the opportunity to rebut some of the things my honorable brother said, because it's very important. Then you create a fair platform for us to speak. Unfortunately, I heard him saying that Nana Addo will go down the hill as West President. It's very interesting. I thought he should have been asked and give us figures, and then the prevailing conditions of today, what we've gone through as a country, and what they went through. Because in any case, you can't compare Okada policy to free school. In any case, if it's not propaganda, any honest, God-fearing person in Ghana who is want to be very honest and wants to do proper comparison between the NDC and MPP at all times, in terms of aggregate performance, but for propaganda, communist inferior tactics, ignorance, unconscious incompetence, display of ego trips, will not compare NDC to MPP. And NDC, for Christ's sake, is a social democrat. Tell me one pro-poor policy of national tenacity they've been able to implement successfully and sustainably in our country. Tell me one. Pro-poor. They are supposed to adopt contractionary fiscal policies, take more taxes, and roll out central government programs just to make sure that poor people also benefit out of redistribution. Tell me one. It's just about this country that people think the only sin we can commit murder and fornication. And because of that, they can come and lie. How can you compare the two? It's interesting. Look, in terms of infrastructure, you are from a very reputable media house. Take NDC MPP rep. Go to urban roads, go to highways, and then all those agencies, and go around the whole world, the whole country. Pick proper, correct data that really have dignity and compare NDC MPP. It's impossible. It's just about lies. Talking about even things that help the poor person. Even now, how are we growing? We are growing even now beyond the 3.2 that we actually inherited from the NDC. Even now, with all these global hardship that, unless those who are very dishonest, because we are import-driven economy. We depend on the developed economies. We buy from look at what I'm wearing, what he's wearing, the watch, everything. So the countries we are importing from, they are going through a hell of economic issues. Inflationary rate post-COVID was about 300% globally. Go and check. Countries such as UK and co that we import from, we depend on. They had inflation rate from about 1.71, it went to 11%. Almost all the essential services in UK, within 3 months, they've been on strike. We depend on them. So when in the history of this country government workers, civil servants and public servants were asked to stay home, but they will be paid. And you are comparing NDC and MPP, that they had better regime, and they left economy of about 3 point something. For NDC, you can say whatever about MPP. I don't have any problem, because there is hardship, which we know largely because of global hardship, because we depend on them. If you buy things from Central Region, come and sell in Accra, and they have problems with their prices, they have problems with the economy, they will affect here, except those who want to do propaganda because they think there's no God. Aside that, NDC, tell me, even teachers and nurses allowance, they that care about the poor, they withdrew that. Everything about NDC is propaganda. And because MPP, in my opinion, we have lapses in our communication framework. That is me, strategically. They take advantage, they lie to Ghanaians, and when they come to power, they can't do anything. So talking about Nanadu being the worst or whatever, at least, not anything at all. Free school is better than Ukada policy. That one, let's establish. Then let's go back to my elections, if you don't mind. Unless you want to take me away.
Just have
I think largely, we conducted a very peaceful elections, and anybody will attest to that. You can't just pick one issue and say that, which of course is not even confirmed, and say that the election largely. So let's applaud the MPP for being able to demonstrate on the continent of Africa that we think democracy is a big issue. What actually happened, things that are of critical importance or public interest and importance, we realized that we were able to do that peacefully. And I congratulate His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for winning that election, and also congratulate others that also took part peacefully. It was something to demonstrate to Ghanaians and the rest of Africa that democracy is largely entrenched in the MPP's fraternity. And I also hope that 4th November, we will do say we have very peaceful elections, and after that we'll all come back and build the needed cohesion as a team and make sure that we defeat the NDC again. Because as I'm talking to you now, there hasn't been one constructive alternative policy from the NDC, apart from propaganda. One constructive. They don't even have. Surprisingly, NDC all the 8 years could not even set up one research team to research into problems that are ritually confronting our country. They are only interested in coming to power, but how to rule and lead, they are not. So I don't think Ghanaians bet, our best bet could be the NDC.
Okay.
And I'm saying and telling my MPP colleagues that please, let us build the needed cohesion, the needed unity, the needed togetherness, collectiveness, so that we can derive the needed synergies and have the competitive edge we need to beat the NDC. Okay. Other than that, we'll hand over power to a fraternity that will jeopardize perpetually the future of posterity and the next generation. Right. Okay. I think this is what we need to do.
So now let's get to some more stories still related or bordering on the economy, and then we'll take some other issues happening in Parliament. The decision of the minority MPs to picket the central bank. The ultimatum has expired. The police says it will not be able to provide, police protection for the exercise. So obviously, that will be put on hold. But we understand the minority leader will be speaking today at an event which is scheduled for later in the day. Are you, considering other options of making the strong case, the case that you've always made, that the central bank governor ought to go?
Thank you so much. I think that let me also welcome my brother, Dr. Steve Amwa. He's a very good friend. Yeah. And sometimes when it comes to talking about politics and economy, he has his own style, but sometimes the style doesn't really reflect what is on the ground. You see, the way he started, sometimes I wonder whether he's really in touch with the people. When we talk about free education, and President John Dramani Mahama talked about progressively free education, starting to create access. Let's build this infrastructure first. If it is free and the children don't even have a classroom to sit, what will you do? You see, the Constitution provides free, basic, universal, compulsory basic universal education, FQ, okay? Go now to my district in which as I'm talking, there are a lot of classrooms even without furniture, and that is the kind of governance system that we are operating, that we are destroying future generations. We talk about the fact that we will not pay allowances. Put the students on student loan. Go outside this country and see what people are doing. Go get a loan and run your education. When you are done, when you start work, they'll start with the dark. You don't need an allowance. You need a loan. And the loan will be enough for you to pay your school fees. And that's exactly, you see, when you talk about propaganda, we say they should review. They say, no, review means cancel. Today, they're talking about reviewing the free SHS policy. And every parent, my son is in school today. Yesterday, I had to send him money because they've canceled breakfast. They are not eating breakfast again. There is no food in the school. And that is the kind of system that we should be highlighting. In principle, no, in principle, free senior high school is something that will sustain and make it better. So let's join them, let us agree with them, review it and make it better for the future generation of this country. That is fine. You see, when you talk about us going to the Bank of Ghana, we were in this country when my brother Stephen Moore's government came into power and talked about the fact that some banks could not stand on 2 feet. They were so weak and they had threatened to collapse the financial sector of the economy. They went for 25 billion Ghana cedis to come and clean up a requirement of 10 billion to let them stand on their feet. We were here watching them. And finally, God being so good, the mother of all banks, Bank of Ghana, came out to say, oh, we have a debt of about 60.8 billion. Okay, if somebody needed 10 billion to survive and couldn't survive and you have to clean it up, somebody is owing about 60.8 billion. He's net 60.8 billion. Okay? And we are telling us, what do we do to that bank? That is a demonstration, a show of incompetence. And as a very relevant opposition, we saying that, listen, we are not going to make any noise. We just want to go and pick it down and tell the Bank of Ghana governor, will you get out of office? Can you just be honest that you failed? Why will you even start printing money? Without looking at the ceiling required by law. 5% of previous year's income is what is your ceiling. How can you print more than that without parliamentary approval? Well, you say that, oh, it's supposed to be the Minister of Finance who have to go to but that law is a Ghana law, and you are a Ghanaian, a very responsible governor of the Bank of Ghana. Tell the Finance Minister, I'm not going to print above what the law says. But you printed enough. At the point, you did everything that you did. When you finished, you sat in your comfort and took a pen and wrote. You written off $48.4 billion. You've just written it off without any consultation. My brother, if we run this country like this, I'm sure in the next 5 years, we'll not have Ghana again. Just print for government. Let them spend it, somebody say, anyhow. And when you finish, sit in your office and write it off. What kind of life is that?
But the
police,
decision,
let me just finish.
Okay.
The police are saying that, listen, we don't want you to go through this route. We don't want you to go to this route. And we say, no, we want to make a desired impact. That is exactly where we want to go. And your duty as police is to provide them with security. Just come and provide us security.
Take a look at where you're going to. This is supposed to be the central bank. Security implications, a lot of them.
And that is
you understand that better, don't you?
I think that you know that I do that better.
Yeah.
That is why we have the Ghana Police Service. There are security implications, and the Ghana Police Service, if they decide to do it, you will go to Bank of Ghana and go and do your picket and do everything and go away, and nothing untoward will happen in terms of security. Nothing. So if you think that we shouldn't be able to go there, it's just a matter of Georgia. And normally, when we meet them, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about route they suggest here. We'll say, no, we want to do. At the end of the day, they will have a consensus. But if the police think that, no, we are not going to allow you to do this, you don't have the right to stop the demonstration. The only thing you can do is to go to court.
Can't you find another space? And I was asking, this question earlier. Maybe somewhat closer to the central bank and not necessarily the premises, because the fear is that some individuals could just take advantage of the situation and cause mayhem there.
You see, what the police does is to be very clear as what you want to do. Where do you want to start your demonstration? Where is the end position? What exactly will you be doing? What are the numbers that you are looking at? All these information are provided to the police to enable them plan. And if the police get all this information right and they plan well, you can actually go and sit in the governor's office. You can actually go and sit in the governor's office and you can do nothing regarding affecting the security of the Bank of Ghana. Unless you take the police by surprise. And if you take the police by surprise, they will deal with you by surprise. That is the point. If you take them by surprise, by probably hiding some information and try to spring a surprise on them, you are creating insecurity and they will deal with you. But very responsible opposition. We have been very open. The minority leader and the leadership of the House, they've been very open with the police. They discuss things transparently. And I think that the police are very comfortable providing security if they can. If there are some challenges that we can meet and judge, or we still have some few days to go, it's not a problem. But I believe that we have a right to enjoy demonstration as a constitutional provision.
In effect, what will you achieve, concretely speaking, if you have a central bank governor who necessarily wouldn't make policy, get him out of office? What will be the effect of that? By the way?
You know the central bank is the one that manages our monetary policy. The monetary policy is controlled by central bank. And if the central bank governor can actually print money above the ceiling and sit in his comfort zone and write it off, yes, government has borrowed so much, and government says, I can't pay. So I've written off $48.4 billion, $1 billion Ghana cedis. If you go that reckless, capricious style in managing the affairs of the Bank of Ghana, I think that is not a responsible democracy we want to run. And as an opposition party, we shouldn't sit down and watch it. People elected me to represent Wawes, and the people of Wawes are watching me. Peter, did you hear what the governor of Bank of Ghana did? What are you people doing? We are not sleeping. We will let the whole world hear. This is the state of our Bank of Ghana. And this is the level of incompetence demonstrated by the governor of Bank of Ghana. And in fact, the whole economy is in shambles because the economic policy is not working, the fiscal policy is not working, and the two of them are not in tandem, and gradually somebody says we are turning the corner. When we are really not, we've not even seen any corner to turn. We are in a mess. Dr. Stephen Amwa, as he sits with me, let him start talking, and he will tell you, as a matter of fact, if he wants to be honest, he will tell you, listen, things are difficult, but maybe I will just start fighting Russia,
Ukraine. He doesn't have to be the only one. The president says he's admitted there are difficulties, but there'll be a need for a leadership that will, going forward, also help to.
That level of admission, that level of admission gladdens my heart.
Right.
And I mean, everybody should admit that. Listen, we are in a deep hole. We created a mess for ourselves. It's self-created, and we have created it. And because, where are we going to go from here? Change of government is the only solution.
I see. Dr. Amwa?
Thank you very much. I think it is crystal clear, and it is a fact that there's hardship in Ghana. It is also a fact that there is a global hardship, and Ghana is an integral element of the globe. If you're honest, fine. If you're dishonest, God is watching you. You can say anything on this earth, but there's God. Me, I'm not an angel. But you can lie to the public, you can say anything, but we'll be judged by our statement. Because we think we want power or we want to stay in power and want Ghanaians to listen to us, we throw away Bible and Quran and lie and deceive people, and we think there's no God.
You're playing the moral card, isn't it?
You can say,
the levels of hardship obviously differ. So you can't say that because there's hardship in Ghana, you're equating it to the level of hardship, say, in the US or elsewhere. That would not be a fair application.
Is that what I've said?
But you're saying there's hardship everywhere. That's the point you're making, actually.
But I never said hardship here in Ghana is the same as elsewhere or bigger. Or
you're saying we're an
so you are making your own
global
statement.
economy.
No, you're making your statement.
No, but I'm trying to say.
Don't make your statement and judge me based on your statement.
But I'm trying to establish the fact that the levels of hardship will differ from country to country.
So don't say I said that.
Yeah, but it will differ. It's a fact that
I'm not saying it will not.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
In some cases or some variables, Ghana better. In other cases, Ghana worse.
Precisely.
So what you're saying is true, but I hadn't said that.
Yeah. But I'm also establishing that fact.
That one I agree. Yeah. So don't attribute that to me.
But I'm establishing that fact.
I'm saying I don't attribute to that because I hadn't said that.
I'm not attributing it to you. I'm establishing the fact that the levels of the.
I thought you are the moderator.
Yes, but I'm supposed to ask you questions.
But you are not asking me a question.
Yes, so I'm also putting up a fact that obviously the levels of the levels of hardship would differ. Precisely, I'm just putting that to you.
But don't attribute that to my statement.
I've not attributed that to you on the show. No, I'm asking the question that the levels of hardship.
I beg you, can I go?
I run the show. I am the host of the program, and you answer.
So when you finish, let me.
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
So which question are you asking?
So I'm telling you that the levels of hardship
you're telling me.
will
I'm not
vary.
asking me.
But I can put that to you.
Okay, so I should answer that.
Precisely, if you want to.
It is a fact that hardships everywhere vary, and I have never said they don't. But it is a fact that Ghana depends on these global economies. Practically, that is a fact. And they are suffering, so we will suffer, probably even more. It is a fact that you can't say that everything is exclusively because of the global issue. Because Ghana, we have challenges spanning from about 40, 50 years ago up to now. It's a fact. Problems with unemployment, is it today? Problems with exchange rate, is it today? Problems with a whole lot of primary macro indicators. If it's only today, that's fine. But the point that I am making is that we all know that COVID made Ghana went through about 22 months of impaired productivity. If you don't understand something, you can speak as ignorant. It doesn't matter. But these are my fields. Any professor can come and lie and God will deal with me and the person. Whether it's Moraka, that's me. I think there's a God that anywhere we find us, we should speak the truth. That's all. Please, Bank of Ghana issue. They have explained. They've come over. They speak as if it is exclusive with Bank of Ghana to have negative equity, which is not true. Situation from 2022, what happened? Australia had about 57 billion.
Right.
Their reserve of central bank, the same issue. UK had about 157 billion. That is the same issue. Then I think one country had about 132. So don't talk as if. And they actually paid their exposures from debt replacement that we all did, exchange. And then Cocoa Board, which was as a result of variation between world market price and Ghana, which was uncontrollable. And the fact that interest rates went high, which affected their loan portfolios. If you don't understand them, that is different. If you want to do propaganda, it is you. I agree. If NDC have found themselves in this situation, people have done the same. But do we keep on recycling these issues, or at a point as a country we need to sit down and say, no, we can't keep on always doing this blame game and recycling problems whilst Ghanaians are suffering. But once facts are there, you can go run, you can lie, but you can't lie to God. The point that I'm making, if it is false, say it is false. Prices of goods and services are very high. Yes. Why? Because we import almost everything, largely. Probably there could be exceptions, but largely or generally, we import things from countries that are also having high prices. Is that not true? Can anybody say that is not true? Are we talking about debt to GDP? The year 2000, we had over 150% debt to GDP. Go and check if that is not true. Is that what we are talking about? Equity does not mean insolvency. Just go and check. If you don't understand this, you can keep on lying to people. And I am saying that there seems to be improvement, even or restoration or recovery post-COVID up to now. That is a fact. They keep on saying something that in Parliament, I made a statement they could not challenge, and they keep on lying to the people. There are fiscal policies and rules. They keep on condemning and complaining and criticizing state agencies or quasi-state agencies, a government position when it comes to not complying with this rule or this, that during these times where we have health disease. When you go to the PFM Act, which when it comes to the management of our finances, public finances, is the supreme legal instrument, apart from probably the Constitution. That I think Article 1-2 states the fact that when there's contradiction, apart from that, is the supreme document. If you go through that document, that is, I think, PFM Act 2016, Act 921, Section 18, it states 3 conditions under which fiscal rules and policies or consultations should even be suspended. What are fiscal rules and policies? Go and define them. 1, war. 2, disaster. War. 2, natural disaster. 3, health, epidemic or pandemic. Such situation, the PFM Act gives. Why do we throw that away? We have wartime and peacetime. So are we talking about the fact that when the whole Ghanaian community were pushing pressure on the government to take quick decisions, but people were dying, and beyond that, the globe even judge us as one of the best countries that we could control fatalities and all those things. Now we finish, we are okay. So want to say, oh, you didn't talk to this person first, you didn't do this first. I'm not saying they don't have concern. If they have issues with materiality, that one
I agree with them. So you don't believe that the BOG governor should go?
Go where?
Leave office. That's the
they leave now what? They are just doing. NDC just want political capital. That's all. They want just political capital. I'm not surprised. Probably MPP could have done the same. That is the cycle I want Ghanaians. Himself, yourself, myself, can keep on doing this. Ghana will keep on suffering. If we still want to put up these behaviors, no problem. The poor people will continue to be poor. And the situation will be worsened. NDC, they've come and gone. MPP have come and gone, have come again. Ask yourself, if like go and play all the tapes when late president, may he so rest in peace, former president Rawlings was there, through former president Kufuor, through former president His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the present president His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa. Go and check all the criticism from the parties. They are the same. So we want to recycle this as a country, and I'm admonishing people like you and the media to sit back and redefine new paradigm shift.
Yeah, but why should it start from the NPP and not the NDC?
Can I end?
But I'm asking why it should start from the NDC and not the NPP and not the NDC.
I'm not talking about NDC or NPP here.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Ghana.
Yes, I know.
I'm surprised. But I haven't said it should start with anyone.
Yeah.
The point that I'm making is that NDC came, most of the criticisms that we raised, when NPP came, the same thing. Then NDC came again, the same thing.
Yes.
So I am saying that as a country, do we continue recycling these things? Is that what we want to do? If you think so, I don't have any problem.
Yeah, but if you did...
You understand what I'm saying? I am rather calling for a redefinition. Okay? We need to redefine our corporate focus as a country, as a people. We need to have a new paradigm shift that most of these recycling dysfunctional factors and statements and positions and actions and inactions, we put them somewhere and say, as a country, what can we do to build very resilient socioeconomic framework that at least we can mitigate some of these problems? But if we keep on doing what we are doing, fine, it's up to us. Then we should stop complaining. It's up to us.
Okay.
That's all that I want to say. I'm not saying it's MPP's time or NDC's time or anybody. If you want to wait till NDC can you do, I'm okay with it. I am calling for not within one particular regime or in one.
But there should be a shift.
But there should be a shift that all of us will address common issues of no importance, of critical, dysfunctional impact and adverse impact on us as a people, and change the way we do things. If not, let's keep on doing all this. Let's do because we want power.
I'm a change agent. I do a lot of training for leadership. Okay,
please. Then let that reflect in your life.
Let me guide you a bit. You see what he's saying. The status quo must change. I agree with him, Dr. Stephen Amoah. Let's not continue to crisscross with criticisms, and Ghana is suffering. But what I expected him to do, because he's in power now, go back to your own government and tell them, listen, what we are doing that is wrong. I, Dr. Stephen Amoah, even though my party is in power and I'm even a deputy minister, what is wrong, I will tell the government in the field, this is wrong. And when the criticism is inside out, change must be inside out. When it is inside out, there is no NDC person who will come and be playing any different card, because even government is bold enough to say this is bad. But here's the case, it's all about Russia, Ukraine. It's all about COVID. Let me tell you something. As I said, if I'm owing the bank where I save 100,000 Ghana cedis, and my mother in the village is owing her bank 1,000 Ghana cedis, you will think that my mother should not be complaining because even his son, Peter, is owing 100,000 cedis. Our economies, our capacities are very different. You see, when you were talking about the Bank of Ghana negative equity, his comparison was Australia. You see how far he has gone? The size of Australia's economy, the size of the US economy, the size of Ghana's economy. When we're talking about negative equity and the fact that your Bank of Ghana has lost.
It's trying to establish the point that it's a trend around the world.
That is what it's
not necessarily new.
Can I correct this?
Let me finish.
Let me finish.
Just one second.
He'll land, I'll give you the time.
Let me finish. He will have his time.
Sorry.
That's okay. You see, when you are doing comparisons, don't compare things that are totally wayward and not closer. Can you do some little comparison within the sub-region? What is the impact of negative equity? You can give a lecture on that. I don't have a problem. But if you think that Ghana with a 55.1% negative equity, it should not be talked about because somebody had a 70% negative equity and they are still surviving. What is their economic base? On what is the economy anchored? To the point that even their negative equity can be done away with a very short possible time. And that's what I was telling you. If my mother is owing 1,000 Ghana cedis, it's no money to me. If I'm owing 100,000 Ghana cedis, it is no money to somebody. But don't do the comparison between my mother and myself. In the village, they are watching. My constituency people appeal by telling Stephen Amoah. Somebody suggested. So tell Stephen Amoah that Bank of Ghana lost 60.8 billion. And in the village, that is all we understand.
The concern about the NDC making political capital out of this, you are obviously doing this to win more and more following, simply because there's obviously some political capital here.
My brother, when we talk about responsible opposition, you hold government feet to fire, okay? And let the people understand that you didn't vote for me to come and be sleeping. If government is messing up, I'll rise to the occasion and say, this is wrong. Okay, the Bank of Ghana has run at a loss of 60.8 billion. Because when we talk about it, it will be positive political capital to the NDC. Let's be quiet. No opposition will do that. And that's why he said, you see, if they were in opposition, I'm telling you and I sitting here, we will not be able to have 1 hour to sleep in this country. The amount of noise that they will make, NDC is a very gentle opposition. Or else, I'm not sure that this issue about going, they are supposed to come and join us. Bro, please join the demonstration.
Okay. That's a great invite to Dr. Amoah. Maybe he will join you when you stay on stage.
He understands the economy better, and his perception is not very wrong. But the truth is that when you bring the MPP politics, he will try to play the moral card, talking about God. Listen, God is in heaven, and God controls our lives. But we have brains to run this country. You see, one thing that is happening to us as a black continent is the fact that we think that the earth is a transition zone. Everybody wants to go to heaven. What are you doing here? That is the reason why we are making the world a very bad place for future generations. Let's put our best card on the floor. Let's put our best brains in charge. And let's do the things, the job well, so that tomorrow future generations will come and see what we have left behind.
Okay. Dr.
Boss, this point, I want to make it clear.
Yeah.
One, on this same platform, I've come here to criticize my government before. You see, we live in a country that if integrity is not an issue, and now a lot of people who have good intentions are becoming demotivated to the point that they want to give up on integrity. I'm being honest. We only concentrate on only the bad things and negative things we see. So people are not even encouraged to put themselves in a category that will help us. I've been on this platform, and even sometimes I get issues from our own people. I get even attacks. I won't lie to you, and people know me. So if we are talking, it's not all the time that one things are not right because you want people to see you criticize your government. We do. 2, I have never compared Ghana to UK or US. I don't even believe in one-on-one comparison.
Okay.
Because we have different issues, specific issues. I do things based on certain relationship or relational variables. I am saying that these are giant economies, better economies, well-structured economies. They even have same trend of challenges that we will be even worse because we depend on them. So people shouldn't behave as if it's an exclusive thing with Bank of Ghana. I'm not saying I'm comparing the two, they are the same. Get that clearly. 2, I think my brother should understand the difference between sound and noise. Because in physics, noise is a destructive interference of waves. You should understand. And sound is constructive interference of waves.
So you see,
and the results are different. They rather produce destructive interference, in parliament anywhere. So you shouldn't compare the two. The point that I am making today, and you have to understand, is that there is hardship. Unless there's anybody who is dishonest. 2, what are the bases? We all know from end of 2019 to 2020 up to even now, the whole world has been in turmoil. Generally, I would say generally or largely, it means greater part of the reason is as a result of what happened to the global supply chain because of the war, because of the disease, which is a fact. We are suffering most because we, in most of the African countries, depend on them. This is something any Tom, Dick, and Harry. And when I bring in God, I'm not saying I'm an angel. Morality is very important. Bringing in God, I'm saying that if I know I'm lying, if I know I can make mistake, it doesn't mean my statements are right. But if I know I'm lying, God will deal with me because I'm deceiving people into making arbitrary decisions. That one is my personal premise, platform. But the point I want to make is that at all times, the NDC, sometimes they do better than MPP. Sometimes MPP, we do better than them. But if you're talking about aggregate performance, any honest, God-fearing person, unless he's suffering from ignorance, unconscious incompetence, display of ego trips, or he wants to do intellectual dishonesty. MPP at all times in government, we are better than them.
You are in government now. You are
far better. Far better.
You are in government now.
You can compare the two.
You are in government now. You are a deputy trade and industry minister. How much time do you feel your government needs to address, the same problems that you're talking about now? How much more time?
Is it the challenges we are having now, or every day's problem?
The challenges you are talking about that we have now. Yes.
I think. I cannot give any milestone or time to it simply because I don't want to be dishonest. I think development or recovery is a process. That's my opinion. So what can be seen as right thing being done in terms of appraisal or analysis or setting your projections and other things is to check the progression or the performance. Whether, the economy, we're having ABCD problems. Are we moving a little bit ahead?
Yeah.
That is what I can say.
So that's why I'm asking
today,
about the projection. What do you think? How much more time do you feel? Yes.
This thing that I'm saying, whether NDC, MPI, it's not because my brother said
it. Right.
My position is that this country, when it comes to resilient economic policies, I think we are not doing well. Whether party A or B.
Okay.
And once you don't establish the required resilience in terms of economic policy framework, any small touch, you are in trouble. That is first thing. Okay. 2, most individuals, whether NDC or MPP, or whether fraternities, whether leader A or B, aspirant A or B, or fraternities, whether NDC, MPP, CPP, my brother, do they really prepare themselves to only win elections, or they prepare themselves to rule and properly lead? Because I am expecting that elsewhere, if I want to solve the problem of import-driven economy, which has been the problem, the central problem of this country, what do I have to do? I should have minimum 5 years of proper research, get my data, define my frameworks, value chains. So when I'm giving promise...
So is it fair to say that you need 5 more years to address the problem?
No, I know that is...
What's your projection? Because you're in government and you have privileged information.
For now...
What projection are you making in terms of how much more time you need to address the challenge that we're facing?
No, I can't say this as an individual here because we have very broad... government. We have trade and industry, we have agriculture, we have economy, we have the president himself, presidency, we have security, all problems.
Okay, so let's look at it from the trade ministry perspective, for instance, normalizing trade, getting the sector back on track. From just that sector, for instance, the
sector in the first place is not off track. So it's not that. But if you're saying that, what can we do to make it far better, I agree with you. I think my minister and the 2 deputies and myself, we are working hard to continue what we met from his, Honorable Alan Chamate, what he was doing in terms of building stronger bilateral relationships and making sure that relevant stakeholders such as GUTA, AGI and Co. and the industries are properly developed within the context of the president's agenda of industrialization, which we are doing. It's ongoing. Of course, the crisis we have today as a result of the globe and even ourselves as a country, probably in terms of pace of speed, is slowed down. And what I agree with, which is a very good question from you, is what can we do to move back and accelerate? I think we need to do a lot of work because it's very challenging, because trade and industry deals with other countries who are also going through almost the same problems you're having. So you can set your projections, but because of the behavior of other boundary factors, such as countries that you have to enter into partnership and work in terms of export and import, in terms of building partnership and developing the country, their position sometimes... Look, let me tell you this. We met as a World Bank, World Bank, and not as trade. As finance committee, parliament, the NDC guys were there. And they said that even the support that they give to us, the big countries they make big donations and then transfer for them to also help us, they're also struggling. I hope you understand. So in this sense, if you want to make projection, which is very important, as you said, sometimes it's very difficult. If you don't take it, you make arbitrary statement. So I want to be careful. I think I need the right data from right source with the needed dignity and do proper processing of the data, and also get from other areas and sit down as a researcher to draw my inferences, which I haven't done and I don't have.
You see, let me just
to point out that because we don't have time, whilst you react to that, then you take the point on...
That he came first.
Yes, precisely.
Well,
the committee, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Then you touch on the meeting, your committee's meeting, COP, one of the police chiefs today. You could just briefly touch on that.
I'm so excited with the points espoused by my good friend, Dr. Stephen Amoah, Honorable. He says, look, if I lie, God will punish me.
Sure.
And I'm so happy. President Nado, then candidate Nado, says the battle is the Lord's. So as we get into the religious realm, I will plead with you to say a few things. Please, one district, one factory. Whoever lies, God punish the person. 1 million Ghana cedis to one constituency. God, it has not happened. Whoever lies, please punish the person. No village or town will have a water problem or toilet problem. 18 months under the President Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. God, if they lie, punish them. The city will be very stable under our government. Please, God, have they lied? If they lie, punish them. You see, we don't need to borrow to build roads. We just need to toll the roads and get the money. There is money in this country. God, all our roads are bad. Even the tolling has been cancelled by some capricious statement from the Minister of Roads and Highways. God, are you punishing them? They say, I'm inviting God into the matter.
Because if God wants to judge us right now.
No. I am using their own standard template.
Are we ready for judgment? The judgment?
Look, I'm using their own template.
Okay, right.
If e-levy is going to be a panacea for all our problems, we struggled, e-levy is not good. So e-levy is...
No.
Dr. We won't go to IMF tomorrow. We will not go to IMF today. Even next tomorrow is part of it. They are already in the IMF in an ambulance. So what I'm saying is that if I lie, God should punish me. They have lied so much to the people of Ghana with their promises, and nothing has happened in 7 years. And I think Ghanaians are following the promises of the MPP from 2016 to date and want to vote. We only plead with them; they shouldn't even contest the election at all. It doesn't matter who they bring as their candidate. It's a non-starter. Dr. Stephen Amoah is a fine gentleman, and sometimes he's tried to be a bit factual. But in politics, his party is watching him. He can't be so deep in the mess that the MPP has created for this country. And if he has the opportunity, he will tell us, all of us sitting here, let the MPP go back to the drawing board, put their party together and come back. So Ghana's democracy will be better, because I will never pray for MPP to collapse. MPP should be stronger enough to ensure that these two parties will keep Ghana's democracy moving forward.
If you ask me, I would say not to. It's a multi-party
You came to move Ghana from taxation to production. Today, taxes are everywhere. And we are saying that when you lie, God to punish you. God, please stay out of this. These are human beings who are just messing up. We will deal with them and bring their leg to fire.
You're intervening on behalf of Dr. Amor.
Oh,
Let him just address the committee meeting. No, I'll give you the time. Please. I just want him to touch on the committee meeting.
Thank you so much.
Happening today, because we understand the police is also making an appearance. Then I'll give the
Thank you so much. We started the committee meeting last Friday. The prime witness, Chief Bukuru Nabu, the paramount...
And this is the IGP case we need
Yes, the IGP's leak tape. The prime witness, Chief Bukuru Nabu, who is the paramount chief of Namon traditional area, a council member of the MPP, a former Northern Regional chairman of the MPP, he sent his lawyers with a letter pleading that we should give him some time. My chairman, Honorable Atacha, agreed with the vice chairman and all of us that no problem, he's an elderly person, why not? So we gave him time, and then Monday, he showed up with his lawyers. And we had a very nice interaction with him. The first thing he did for us was to authenticate the tape. He said, yes, this is a tape that is genuine. I recorded it, and I recorded it for very serious security reasons. So I don't have any doubt, and I don't have any regrets doing that. We went into the tape, asked various questions, and he answered them candidly with his lawyers. The lawyers didn't have an opportunity to even interfere even a minute. It was a very decent interaction or engagement. And
today?
Yes, and today, from the last meeting on Monday, it came to light that we were going to invite 3 more people. And the 3 people, Commissioner Mensah, Commander Asari, and Commander JB, we're expecting them today at 10 o'clock. And then
how about the police service itself? Are you going to have some appearances?
No, we are talking about people who are witnesses. Okay. We are going to extend the same courtesies that we extended to Chief Bukuru Nabu when he appeared before us. And I'm sure that because it's going to be a live program, all of us will be watching proceedings and see how gradually the committee will end its work, make the desired recommendations, and probably from the conclusion that we will draw. And then when Parliament resumes, we'll lay
the question as to where all of this will end, by the way. I mean, why spend time probe when the president is the one who has the ultimate power to decide what happens to these individuals or to the IGP?
The president's ultimate power rests on the people. Power belongs to the people. And the people representatives are saying that we want to help the president take a good decision. So we are going to go into this matter. At the end of the day, we'll make recommendations, and Parliament, I'm very sure, will carry these recommendations for president to implement. If he decides not to implement it, but the Ghanaian people have seen that we have effectively represented their interests. It is for the president, who is an executive president, to take a decision. We will do our job. And we are doing our job in line with the mandate, the referral that was given to our Parliament. It's a bipartisan committee with a technical expert on board. And I think that so far so good. I am impressed with how far we are going.
And you want the IGP to stay, I guess?
Pardon? I mean, we are not talking about whether IGP stays or not. We are talking about a leak tape that the conspiracy to remove the IGP. And I think that if that is how IGPs are removed, we are not in a democracy. We should be heading towards trouble.
Okay. Dr. Amwa, probably you'd also be interested in this IGP issue. And then
before I come there, I want to go straight.
Talking about,
yeah. Don't go to God again.
My brother.
Don't go to God again.
God is our Father in heaven.
You can say anything you want.
Yeah.
It still comes to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think we should clearly see the difference between projections, programs, budget, actuals, and the variation. This is not about somebody lying. I can make projections. I can say I'll do ABC. These are the things I want to do. Uncertainty and circumstances and opportunities can let me do more or less or even fail. These are different entirely. My colleagues will understand.
Don't go to Russia.
Can you stop it, please?
Oh, no. He
what I'm saying is that if I know I'm lying, I'm twisting the issues unnecessarily to deceive people into making arbitrary decisions, God should deal with me. That one is my statement. You can say and lie and do. In any case, sometimes NDC guys, members, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They speak as if they've never been in government. That, Roto alone can save us. So when they were in Ghana, when did we have a Roto?
We didn't say
How much were we getting? Was that enough? Between 2014 and 2016, please go and read their own budget. Their own budget statement. NDC either introduce new tax items or increase tax existing items, 26 of them, including even condom. You remember?
Doctor,
and Kayayo.
Should this be about the NDC or what you
No.
promised?
No. But what he's saying, I need to let people understand
They're
that.
even taxing part.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
He was saying that, why? We MPP, we've done a lot of taxes. I think he should also be asked, is it that? And then he was making comparative statement that even Roto, he said that fine. In fact, I disagree even the cancellation of Rotos. That one I agree with him. I personally, but that's my personal opinion. But what I wanted to ask him is that indeed they were there, the Rotos were there, but they together increased or introduced new taxes, 26. In fact, another in 2017, either reduced or took away entirely taxes, about 16 or 17. Go and check, including the carrier tax. So tax policies are calibrated in nature in terms of managing, your financial economic framework of any country. They should understand that. But one thing that I want him to understand is that 1D1F largely has been very successful. I won't say it's been perfect. 1D1F. If you talk about 1,000,001 constituency, in my opinion and my observation, I don't think it has attained the results that it had. It's done some work, I agree. But don't talk as if somebody like the sitting vice president, His Excellency, the great man, the respectable man, he speaks the things that he spoke about. Most of them, look, digitization. Why won't you talk about that? The 1D1F you're talking about, but it's not everything that has been successful under him or under Nanado.
Right.
But what we want to say is that these were projections, they were our plans. As you want to roll out, there are uncertainties. This one, you could decide to come here 6 a.m. Something can happen. Either you don't come or you come 9. That is separate from you sitting here and you are lying, or I am lying to people to deceive them. That is what I'm talking about, morality and bringing God on board. But I am saying that at all times, all things being equal, all things, they say, is this ceteris paribus or paribus or whatever? All things being equal, LPP government at all times, in terms of aggregate performance, in terms of the economy, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of redistribution policy or social intervention policy or economic policies that will help the poor. You can never, ever compare the NDC to the MPP. It is a fact. But of course, they can do propaganda and deceive people. It doesn't matter. Winning power doesn't mean you are the best or losing power. We know things are hard, even for us as a government and for them and for the country and for the whole world. Whoever thought that a well-developed economy, such as UK, a cancer patient could not even access healthcare because of strikes? Whoever thought about that? I'm not comparing them, but whoever thought? So please, the time we are in is a time that probably NDC would have performed worse. COVID, people would have died, probably millions of people could have died if NDC were to be in power. So they can't compare the two.
I'm grateful, gentlemen, for joining us. If I'm to give you each a minute. If I'm to give a minute each to the two,
So when I was asking, he said you asked me. I'm a democratic person. Ask me.
Gentlemen, we need to go.
Look into the camera and just be honest. I am wearing a mate in Ghana. I'm promoting Ghana's economy. Look into the camera and be honest. Don't you believe that MPP has lost the 2024 elections already? Just be honest.
He doesn't believe.
It's going to be difficult for us. It's going to be difficult for us. We've been in power 8 years. There's truly hardship. Tell me, all over the world, all governments and leaders are having the same challenge. But trust me, we will beat the NDC. Mark it on the wall. What we need is only unity. MPP should be united. We are one people. That's why I'm begging them that we should be highly united. We should be together. To beat NDC, we only need unity. Because do you know that England? Go to England now. Bypass. Go to Konongo. Bypass. See Accra here. Even here.
Let the people of Ghana decide.
I can't find a candidate in the election that can stand
and they know that MPP government is.
I am saying that
I can't find a candidate. The deputy trade and industry minister and also MP for and also Peter Tobo launching his MP for hours. Gentlemen, we need to go. If I'm giving you a chance now, you will go on and on and on and on. I'll give you a minute. So that's what I'll do. I want Peter to also touch on the and this has come to our attention. So let me ask. Yes, I'll give it. No, you give it. Okay, so just go ahead and ask.
Look into the mirror. Into the
camera. You mean?
Camera. Tell Ghanaians. Will you allow your child to pick Okada as his profession.
Okay, so that's great.
Yes.
So Peter Tubu, why are you doing that? Just wrap up. And Peter Tubu, just wrap up on. Yes, I get your point.
With taxation to production.
Okay, that's fine. So deal with that, gentlemen. Let's hold on. Just deal with the happenings in Hallway for me briefly. I'm sure Honorable Stephen Amma also take his thoughts on that.
Thank you very much. Sometimes it's very nice.
Yeah, very interesting.
I mean, just guiding our heart. You know, I have a brother who is a graduate.
But he's not answering.
No, he wants something. He wants something.
Let us answer you.
He wants her. He wants her.
Yes, let's
But let's do, gentlemen.
I have a brother who is a
Hallway.
graduate. He's a teacher. He takes Okada business very serious as a source of income. Many streams of income makes man better.
Okay, I get the point. So we don't have time. So let's deal with the Hallway.
No, will you allow
I'll get back to you.
I'll
give you the time.
I want to say good morning to the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Okubudampare, the regional commander of the Volta region. What has happened in Hallway? Because I'm entering into his territory. What has happened in Hallway? I think that we need to appreciate the fact that policing is evolving. Policing is evolving. And we will say security is a collective responsibility. The people of Hallway deserve very good policing. The Ghana Police Service demands that, look, we help them to provide professional police services. But I don't know what it is that somebody is carrying something suspected to be in their hand. I don't see the justification in which the person can die if the person doesn't threaten the life of the police officer. In policing, at any point in time you see a police officer ready to kill, what it means is that his life is in immediate danger. And any other skill that he has failed. And the only option he has to survive is to kill. Apart from that, any death will presume to be murder until investigated and proven otherwise. I want to invite the Professional Standards Bureau to get into Hallway, get clarity on the matter, and advise the IGP accordingly.
No one should be dying out of this. Yes, about this.
I really don't know the substance of the case.
Yes, okay.
But I think, I don't know if I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I get your point.
But I think we should be careful when it comes to murder. It's an extremely important issue. That you realize that the good legal books always say that when it comes to murder, there are certain key areas we need to look at. Whether there is substantial miscarriage of justice. And that will be seen in the law court. By courts of
but the police has confirmed that two people.
It is an essential public interest or important public interest that when we are commenting on them, we should be very careful that out of asymmetric information, we don't make pronouncements that will escalate or provoke the public more to even cause further mayhem. Let's be very careful.
I guess peace is what we are looking.
If you're a lawyer, go and read. Is it Wilmington versus the DPP? That case, when you read it, you see that truly, when it comes to murder, we should be very careful the comments we make in terms of, trying to water down.
But you are calling for peace, I guess.
It's very. Let's leave it. Exactly. So don't make this comment, this prejudicial statement to misdirect or direct the case. Let the appropriate stakeholder institutions, such as the police that really form the enforcement of the law, and the other practitioners such as the court, to do proper work. So that when somebody loses, the person can accept in good faith.
Let me
don't do these things. If you do that, it's very dangerous.
Let me educate you.
You don't preempt when it comes
in law
to
enforcement.
murder issues.
Listen, in law enforcement, when somebody dies, the presumption is murder.
That one we know. And that is why you should be careful the comments you make.
No, the comment is that the police professional...
You should be careful.
The police...
No, already you are judging.
No.
You don't know what happened there.
But he's inviting pips.
I am inviting pips on the...
No, but you don't comment this way. If you want to invite, you say, I invite you. But you're taking your position.
No.
It means the invitation you have an
okay, Dr.
Monson.
You were not listening to me.
That is unacceptable.
You were not listening to me.
If you do that, it's going to be very dysfunctional to the case.
The people of Hallway are watching us, and I'm sure that they believe that the IGP will do something.
But anyway,
they believe also that
my condolence to the family that they have lost.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.
So together, let's wish the people of Hallway well. And
of course, 100%. But don't provoke the people of Hallway. In a way that would jeopardize the process.
Grateful to these people because they are politicians. I give them all of the time.
I will never do that.
We'll be back.
Let's allow people to
Thanks. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, it's good to be back here on the AM show after that heated exchange, ending on quite a very great note between Dr. Stephen Amoah, Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, and MP for Insurance, as well as Peter Lonchene Tubu, Superintendent retired, and MP for WOW is joining us for big stories. It appears that we're not all done with the stories that we're looking at, because we are, focusing on that lead up to the NPP's ultimate decision to elect a flag bearer come November 4. Many more individuals are interested in what should be the future of the party, including the Chief Executive for the publishing company, Mr. David Asante, who's been monitoring the conversation, also joining us here on the AM show. Thank you, David Asante. It's been a while. After the Let My Vote Count days, you're back into the fray again. But you are, of course, making a new proposition to your political party. You believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be given the opportunity. The rest, stand down, throw your weight behind him, and then the NPP will be in a better position to break the 8. Will that not be termed as against the values of a party that says it believes strongly in democracy?
Thank you very much, Mr. Suga. Let me say good morning to you. Let me say good morning to the people of Ghana watching and listening to us. Well, the NPP, as a political party, we are firm believers of the democratic tenets of this country, and we practice it to the latter. Personally, I believe in the democratic ideals and the principles, of course, upon which political parties are founded. I will be the last person to advocate that elections must be cancelled. There must be elections. I do not seek to call for truncation of the electoral process. No, that is not my position. But Suga, listen, elections are won with numbers. If 960 people go to vote, spread over 16 regions, which constitutes 16 polling centers, and the party headquarters as a polling center, then in all the 16 regions, one candidate wins convincingly in all the 16 regions. In his whole home region, in all modesty, the people of Northeast conferred 100% vote on Dr. Bawumia. Northern Ghana, potent region, 94% voted for Dr. Bawumia. Asante region, the second largest region on the Electoral Commission's radar, as far as registered number of voters in Ghana are concerned. And Asante region, the strongest support base of the party, the candidate gets 82.2%, close to 84%. The party headquarters, the national officers, point of voting, the engine and the administrative office of the party, secret ballots were cast. Dr. Bawumia won convincingly over there. I am a numbers person. She gets don't lie.
Okay, if you're looking at the numbers, if you're looking at the numbers, then many will question you as to what's going on within the party. This is just 691 delegates. There's a wider constituency of over 200,000 persons who would have to decide.
I'm coming there. What happened at the Superdelegate Conference over the weekend cannot be decoupled from what will happen on the day of election on November 4th. So that there is a history. The last time when the Honorable Alan Chamantin had close to 10% of the total vote cast at the Super Delegate Congress in 2010, preparing for 2012 elections, the end result was around 94%, the main election. I don't know whether what I'm saying makes sense to you. So if we are talking about numbers, that's the implication. We will not be right to decouple what happened in the Super Delegate Congress or conference from what will happen at the main election. Let me tell you why. Almost everybody who is part of the constituted Super Delegate Conference electoral list contested and voted, was contested and was voted for. The regional chairman of the party contested and were voted for. Constituency chairman contested and were voted for. The MPs contested and were voted for. So, I was with Dr. Baumia when we were touring Eastern region. Some of the MPs held microphone and said, we will go down and listen to our delegates whom you will tell us to vote for in Koforidia. We will go and vote for that person at the Super Delegate Conference. Then the chairman and the MP go to vote for Baumia at the inspiration of the delegates. Then you are telling me, no, it is only a 4% representation. It is not representative enough. Then you reject the hypothesis and say the sample size is not too big. It is not representative enough. So let us still throw in resources and go into the main election. When there is a historical antecedent that you cannot decouple the results of a super delegate election from the main election. The history doesn't support it. The numbers don't support it. Nobody wins super delegates and comes to lose at the main election because the people who go to vote for super delegates go there with the inspiration of the grassroots delegates who tell them who to vote for. So when there is time for the grassroots who constitute the larger number to vote, they won't deviate and cast their vote in variance from who they sent you to vote for in the earlier elections. The figures don't support it. The historical analysis don't support it. The trend analysis don't support it.
So your admonishment to the aspirants, aside Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, will be to stand down. I mean, to withdraw from the race, or what's the proposition really?
There is a larger call that what will happen on November 4th will be an overwhelming endorsement of Dr. Baumia's candidature. The delegates will do otherwise. It's in the interest of most of these aspirants. I use the expression, be wary of political merchants. The men who are cheering you on and making you spend resources, time and energy, and making you bring the party forward move to kind of, listen, there is a problem here. You agree with me as a political watcher, every time there is internal election, there are bound to be fractures. You need to sit down and make peace with one or two persons before we move on to the main election. I am speaking purely as a party person who believes in the unity of purpose with which we voted for Dr. Bawumia. All I'm calling for is, let the party remain solid behind Dr. Bawumia. That is the language the delegates spoke last weekend. I'm just re-emphasizing the language. They spoke in numbers. I'm speaking in words to say, the interpretation of the numbers the people converged and conferred on Dr. Bawumia is the election of November 4th won't be at variance with what we've witnessed. Let's rally behind Dr. Bawumia. He is the man the delegates voted for.
Okay. David Asante, thank you for spending some time with us here on the AM show. Chief Executive for the Ghana Publishing Company, sharing his thoughts on the internal reorganization of his political party. Next, when we return, we'll tell you about the coalition of aggrieved customers of Men's Gold. They're back in the news, and obviously it's got to do with his fresh charges being slapped on Chief Executive of the defunct Men's Gold Company, Nana Apia Mensah. Number one is in the news again. We'll talk about him after this. it was the biggest financial saga a few years ago, and many would have thought that by now the customers of defunct Men's Gold will be going home smiling to the bank because of the assurances by the company that it will defray its cost and pay off investment funds. But years on, the funds remain locked up, and many customers are mounting pressure on government to act fast and to at least give some respite to many of them who they claim are dying as a result of the panic attacks due to the Men's Gold saga. Today, the Attorney General is announcing that 39 new charges will be slapped on CEO of defunct Men's Gold company, Nana Appiah Mensah Namwan is back in the news, but the aggrieved customers of Men's Gold say there's more to the story and they want government to, do a few more disclosures to them. Joining us now is Fred Forson, convener for the Coalition of Aggrieved Customers of Men's Gold. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Blessed.
Yeah, and I can see that from your response, you're not too happy about the way things are going. We'll hear about your concerns shortly, Fred. But here's what we need to know. We need to give you a background of what's involved, how much is involved, what the assurances have been so far. Government has also indicated to us that the assets of NAM1 were frozen at some point. How much is involved? Joining us now, data analyst, Joy Research Desk, Isaac Kofiaje is on with us just to help us with the discussion. Isaac, let's get to the figures. 39 new charges. We'll talk about the charges later. But how much is involved here?
Right, Blessed. So the Men's Gold saga is big. And the reason why it's big is because you are looking at an investment portfolio or an investment worth some 1.68 billion Ghana cedis. Then in 2018, if you should quantify this, it was somewhere around $200 million. Now it will be around $168 million if you are using $1 is to 10 cedis. We're also looking at 16,000 investors who probably, got into this investment scheme, which many have said were a bit fraudulent in terms of its dealings. Many said that they were actually trapped by the high interest rate, where some were even earning close, between 7 to 10% in terms of the coupon payments per month, depending on the, the investment that you make. But the developing story and what we know is that on July 30th, Men's Gold actually put out that all customers who believe that they have legitimate claims with them should file their document. They should submit their document through a certain process. And that after that, Men's Gold was going to go ahead to...
And obviously the decision by Men's Gold was that they were going to do the validation and
process
then
this
go
document.
ahead
And the customers who will be deemed to have valid documents will be given the green light. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I was just reiterating the point that you're making, that indeed the announcement at the time was that Men's Gold was going to do the validation, and then when you purchase this so-called scratch card, you'd be way through to getting your deposit.
Absolutely. They came to give clarity on the scratch card and the fact that they weren't going to charge that 600 and I think more than 600 Ghana cedis that they were demanding in the first place. But we've seen some of, the Men's Gold, investors saying that once they went through the process, they've seen text messages saying that, you have to make some payments and all of that. And they feel that this is also another way that they could be swindled. But Men's Gold has been speaking. They've been giving updates on this validation process that they're actually embarking on. According to them, all the validation that were actually submitted through the process that they asked people to do so, about 60% of them were deemed not, to have some sort of defect. And as a result of that, the process could not go through. Just 40% of all the tendered, documents could have had the legitimate or valid document that probably Men's Gold were looking for. And I would like to read for you what Men's Gold mean when they say your validation is actually not valid. They are trying to say that there were 10 characteristics of this 60%, validation document that was submitted via the process. One, they said some of them had irregularities or inconsistency of the records on the face of the document. So in essence, what people submitted did not sync with the.
In fact, if we're to do the mathematics now, that will mean that out of the 16,000, having 60% gone already will be a significant number out of that number. So NAM1 will be left with, I guess, less than 5,000 people to deal with, to settle.
Absolutely, less than 5,000 people.
That's the effect of it. That's the effect of it. Okay. Well, Isaac unfortunately gone because of the network issues. Fred is laughing at, obviously, the claims being made by Men's Good. I'll come back to that data. But Isaac, yes, and that's the implication that would have lost 5,000 or 6,000 more. And NAM1 would simply be left with just 5,000 to settle. Because, mind you, he's indicating that he settled about 5,000 already.
So virtually has finished paying.
Isaac, that's the claim from Men's Code, right?
And even with this 40%, NAM1 is saying that if your validation actually went through, let me read verbatim what it says. It said, all valid transactions are assigned a full date settlement, a definite date, clearly indicating on their eligibility reported to be earned via a direct bank wire transfer. And now there's one other interesting bit to this whole NAM1 situation and Men's Good situation, that they are saying that they have a challenge. And the challenge they have is that they can't go ahead to, establish, offices across the country. And so they are going to use the digital means or the online means to make sure that they go through all of this process. So it's not going to be face-to-face. It's going to be, through, digital transfers. You send in your validation, they go through it. If it is deemed appropriate, they'll send you a message. And about 40% of those who, you sent their documents according to Men's Code had the required document that they demanded. And they've given them definite dates that they are going to go ahead with a disbursement.
And this will be and this will be which day?
They did not state the date, but what we know is that they are making plans to make sure they give them a certain definite date, to go ahead with the disbursement. But as to whether it will be next month, next 2 months, the press release that came out did not specify. But what we do know is that Men's Code says that they are making plans to make sure that whose validation went through will actually have their disbursement.
I see. Isaac Ofeaje, data analyst here at Joy News. Fred Forson in studio with us. Fred, have you gone through the process of doing your validation already? Have you bought the scratch card just to check if your money is still in
but
there?
I don't think I should waste my energy and time to be involved or to be scammed by
you don't want your money back.
The people we have unfortunately identified as more or less Yahoo operatives.
You don't want your money back?
No,
but you've been asking for your money.
This is a fraudulent system he has put in place, and a confused man, somebody who came to fame by exploiting the weakness in our system. He realized that he could associate himself with politicians first. He could associate himself and use celebrities to sell the product so that he will be accepted. He could associate himself with the religious bodies and they accept him. Then he went further to meet with our traditional bodies because he believed that these are people who are following. So when he meets them, when he mingles with them, and these people give him endorsement, the generality of the people of Ghana will buy into it.
But Fred,
so
the point
we have seen that.
When NAM1 was paying you the interest on all of your investments that you made at Men's Code, it was good time for you.
It was good time, but blessed.
So why
like I said yesterday, we have learned through a hard way. We learn every day. Learning is cumulative.
Right.
So we have learned through the hard way that these are the sort of people we are working with. I mean, look at this ridiculous validation and the verification. I mean, who survived that validation? Because Men's Code issue has assumed a national proportion. So Men's Gold alone cannot sit in the backyard and say that we have done validation, come and check.
Yeah.
Who supervises it? You can as well go out there, delete the names of the people. Look at what he's saying, 60%, like the mathematics you did.
Yeah.
So now he's left with around 5,000 or more.
Yeah.
And he says that he has paid 5,000. So virtually he has finished paying everybody. That's what he's working up to. To the extent that even those who more or less didn't listen to us, our caution, went ahead, purchased the scratch card. He checked and they give him a statement that your document is valid. There's this gentleman, I used his name because it's on Twitter, one Daniel Kofiedu. He checked and they told him valid. Then they themselves requested that he presents his bank details. After presenting the bank details, he goes back to check again and this one shows invalid. At that, the same person, he has paid for the scratch card. Is this not fraud? Is this not Yahoo operations?
I see.
What else? What else should we describe it? To the extent that you are a rich man who has a lot of money, but you still need 650 Ghana cedis from customers. We go to a pay boy and bless it. Come to think of it. I am indebted to you.
Yeah.
I'm unable to pay you. Are you not the very person who should go for and look for a debt collecting company? Why is that I the very person who owes you, now point to you that go to Payboy. It's a debt collecting company. Go and pay so and so amount to him. And when you pay to Payboy, Payboy will now come to me so that I can pay you. I mean, this is Kweku Nancy's story. And what saddens our hearts is that we have security agents, we have regulatory bodies sitting down watching this mess. Okay? This tricks for the past 2 weeks, and all of them have folded their arms. They want Ghanaians to fall into prey. Then later on they will issue presses.
But I'm not sure that's a fair representation of what's happening now, knowing that we're hearing from the Attorney General who's making his intentions clear. 39 charges slapped on Nana Mensah. It's a step in the right direction.
It's a good step in the right direction, even though it came late in the day. But, I mean, since yesterday, it has brought some reliefs. And I'm happy about the particulars of the people there. That for the work we have done over the past 5 years, people are now bold to come out to disclose how much they are owed in Men's Gold, and they believe that if for nothing at all, there should be justice. This is not to say that we are going to relent in our effort to use a civil remedy to retrieve our money. Government is still should be still committed. Government should be responsible for what happened. And the example, even the more reason why the people of Ghana, I know you the media have been on our side from day one, and especially as for this house there, what I don't have is an ID card to be a worker here because you've given us all the platforms in the world. That even for the past 2 weeks, bless it, state agencies are sitting down, watching him. Is the more reason why he was able to do what he did from
in the first place?
Yes, in the first place, because they were watching. And even we have gone ahead to petition the Inspector General of Police. And as we speak, he has not been invited by the police. He took 5% migration fee from us. He took 9% for Payboy, and now 650. This incident happened after 2018. Yesterday, charges were based on the alleged offenses he committed prior to 2019. What about the ones that are even ongoing? What is the state doing?
I see.
So we commend the Attorney General. We are happy that more or less the case has been moved up to the higher court, and the AG himself went to file. So we expect, what we are calling for now is we want speedy trial. We want daily trial because this one involves about 1 million Ghanaians.
I see.
And we want justice.
And
they
what's not clear?
Justice.
Yeah, what's not clear is government's position on whether or not it will now change its stance, pay you your locked up investments while they freeze assets of NAM1 just to get the money back. Government will only, and all we can point to now, is the earlier position that the finance minister stated years ago, that we cannot use public funds to pay back your private investments.
I think we have said several times that position was very weak, and we believe that government has changed. I'm not sure he was speaking government's position. Otherwise,
but that's the finance minister. He's the one to release the money.
He doesn't call the shots.
Yeah.
He works under somebody.
This and the president, the minister for finance and economic planning.
Yes. We know he said we are not going to the IMF, but when the president spoke, all mouths were shut.
Oh, really?
And now he said we're not going to IMF, but when the president spoke, directed, he had to.
So you feel President?
So that's why we believe that last year,
President Akufo-Addo technically say, go ahead, pay Men's Gold customers.
That's why
when he's not even standing elections.
That's why last year. Don't worry. We don't think the payment of our money is tied to an election. Otherwise, we would have waited. When it's election time, then we come up. But we have been very consistent right from day one. I'm saying that position may not be government position because last year, the president himself allowed us to petition him. And I'm not sure if he doesn't have any plan or he doesn't have any means of looking at the issues, he wouldn't have accepted our petition in the first place.
Looking back at the years, you're convinced that we use public funds, we use state money, we use my taxes, your taxes to pay your interest for an investment that you made, received at some point interest on it, and you were enjoying all of that alone, Fred. You didn't even give me a call.
How different from that?
Yeah.
Especially when you look at what happened to the bailout to the customers of the banks. Are we not all Ghanaians? Aren't we all taxpayers? Are we not paying the financial service something tax since 2021? And so if government has that prerogative to bail us out, that's what we are calling for.
And if that should happen, do you want the full refund or you just want your capital?
We just want the principal, what we just invested, not even plus the commission that he collected. Right. If I invested, let's say 100,000, I paid some commission around 5,000. I don't want that. I just want the 100,000, which is on paper that I bought this number of goods. I'm happy that government has admitted, even in the last charge sheet, that some amount of gold was frozen, and some bank accounts and some of the vehicles have been sold. So now these things have been with you for the past 5 years. Some have died. Human beings have died. So I think it's in a good place for government to
and I see that you're very inquisitive about the status of the assets that were frozen. You through an RTI, right to information opening petition, this is supposed to be the AG?
Yes, we petitioned the AG last year. Asking for disclosures. Okay. We had 14 points issues that we raised in respect of the amount of gold frozen, amount of vehicles seized, and the number sold. You know, they are not the same thing.
Yes.
Then how much was in the bank account that was frozen? Because I'm not sure government will go ahead and freeze an empty account. We are not telling them they should give us the money. We just want to know what is there. Because we are fighting for something, isn't it? And technically, these assets belong to us. So if we know that we have X amount there, then we can use that one as a bargaining chip or platform to go and appeal to the president and please add up. So that's all we're asking for. So I'm not sure this will prejudice the case in court. Just give us
But you've been doing your own checks. Yeah. Honestly speaking, do you feel that Men's Gold still has some money in the accounts by now, or of which you can just leverage on?
We still believe that the accounts frozen are still intact with the government, except that maybe...
No, I'm not asking about the accounts. I'm asking about the money in them. You still believe there's still money in Men's Gold account?
Yes, because we don't believe that there is an empty account of Men's Gold in the custody or being supervised by the government. I mean, that will be another thing.
And this is based on your own investigation?
Yes. We believe that, for that one I can assure you, we believe that there's money. We have, yes. In fact, to the extent that the auctioneer, the cars which were auctioned, we are aware they have submitted their report to government. We are aware there's a figure around. Sold? Yes, last year. AG even said it. We are aware that it's around, I don't want to prejudice it because the case, there's a figure maybe of we can discuss it. So we are aware that some of these things have happened. We just want to know the figure to enable us, to give us some respite to know that, okay, this is what we have there. And respected Attorney General, you are the legal advisor to the President and the government. Advise the government that while the criminal aspect goes on, the civil one can run concurrently.
So that the two cases will...
Yes, so that we can be paid. We can be paid. Government should give us a bailout, yes.
Officially, on the record now,
yes.
How many people have their funds locked up, outstanding? Because the Defense Men's Gold Company, through its assigns, are putting out the figures as to how many people actually they owe. 60%, in their view, fraudulent claims. They do not accept that. 5,000 settled. The number is almost gone.
In fact, last time he was asked on X.
So what's the official number?
For us, we are a coalition. We are just a part of the entire customer group
base.
For the data that we are keeping and managing is a little over 10,000. We are not seeing that.
That's more than double of the amount he's saying he settled.
Oh, as for this gentleman and his words there, we take it with a pinch of salt. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. To be honest with you.
So not even a single person has been paid to any of these 10,000. Are you sure?
Let me show you something.
Have you checked?
He was
Are you
asked
sure?
How many customers in all? He couldn't answer.
Right.
Yet you have done a validation that you claim 60%
is fraudulent.
Is fraught with issues.
Issues, yes.
How did you come by 60%? Isn't that out of the total? Because if something is 60%, it means you knew the 100%. So out of the 100%, you worked out, you got 60%. Yet you are not able to disclose the total number of customers involved. So that's why I don't want the public to split their head. Some people are even shaking that he has given them a deadline. Please, he doesn't have. In fact, Namwan doesn't carry the last word on the payment of men's good issues.
Do you still have hope that someday this money will be paid? Some say probably it might have been a Ponzi scheme and it's all over for you, Fred.
I have hope, and now my hopes are even brighter because we started this thing. People thought, oh, these people, they will forget about it. I remember last year when we were having a meeting at the Jubilee House. Yeah. There's a senior officer who said that if you people had stopped, I'm not sure the president would have asked that now you bring a petition. So we have hopes that one day, and I want to use this platform to urge my colleagues that keep hopes alive. We are still on it. When Parliament comes from recess, we have gotten the commitment from the Right Honourable Speaker that a 5-member committee will be set up to look into the matter, not investigating or looking into the criminal aspect. They want to look at the civil aspect that will enable us secure our money. And so
that's good news for
yes. It's on Parliament Facebook.
Okay. So on a daily basis, what do you tell your members about the status of the investment, what the future holds, and what the next step should be?
I am really saddened. Just about 3 days ago, 2 of them also passed. I want you to encourage yourself, okay? I know it's very hard. Some visions and dreams have been thwarted, but I still want you to encourage yourself that just make it a point that you have borrowed money and your money is still in investment, and we shall retrieve it. I believe that we shall retrieve it. And looking at the issues happening, because some of us, and with my crop of leadership that we are leading this thing, we have been very consistent with this fight, and our words, we have not changed our position that it's the government that should take the responsibility. And we are getting close to that place, yes. So I want you to hold yourselves up. Don't die. I beg you, don't die. There is life at the end of the tunnel. Don't die.
Would you still make more investments if the opportunity presents itself?
I'll be very careful. I'm blessed. I mean, you can attest to it. Because I have fallen a victim, we have been also trying to not to allow other people to go into. That's why you remember last year we did a story on the on the CD coin thing.
Right.
We killed it at the embryonic stage. Even this very house, when we came to Adum TV on the pay boy issue, the very day we did the program, 1 hour later, Yoko went, they heard us because I know they listen. They went and closed down. And the 650, the pushback is from us. So we do not want our people to fall into any trap again, and we don't even want other people to fall into any trap. When we hear of anything, we are more or less have become advocates. We don't want this thing to happen. We should have a clean and a just society, and our regulators and institutions and our leaders to sit up. Some of you are lazy. We pay you, especially the governor of the Bank of Ghana. I don't see why he's refusing to go. You sit on this rot and you still want to be clapped for. I mean, so some of our...
What were you expecting the governor to do?
He should resign. He should resign. He's part of it. He was just issuing...
No, he's part of your woes? He's part of your the challenges, the reasons why you're not...
He was just issuing warning. When you could have taken action. If you want to stop... I'm just giving you an example. You see, I am just giving you an example. For the past 2 weeks...
Okay, I recall that
the gentleman is demanding money from
but I
the
recall
public.
that statement from the central bank, warning customers of Men's Gold to say, well, just stay away. At some point, the Security and Exchange Commission also came through, indicating that they have remit over the issue. Also took on Men's Gold. Yet you are still depositing your money there. Why then do you want to create the impression that, well, the regulators, the BOG boss and co did not do anything about it?
They failed big time. So the police has seen people robbing people. Then the police issue a warning statement to the armed robbers. Is that how they should do it? People are robbing, stealing at a joint. Then the police just comes, the PR department, they issue a statement. Hey, stop robbing. There's an armed robbery going there.
Fred Forson, this is not the Ghana Police Service. You're referring to the Bank of Ghana.
It's the same thing. They have that authority.
Yeah.
They could easily even, in fact, we have petitions since 16th August. They should have even rather prompt the security agencies that what this gentleman is doing is not good. Go after him. You are not doing it. Even up to now, even their warning has not come. 2 weeks in the day, their warning cry say to tell the people that no, this 650 thing or this issue about somebody, from what Kwekwe read, they don't even have an office. They are operating online. So even when you go and pay your money, you are paying the money to faceless people. Why can't they even prompt the security agencies that from the studies that we have done, or we have been following this thing for the past 1 week or 2 weeks, we think you have to go and
based on the tangent of your argument, am I getting a sense that your members are trying to join this whole protest against the BOG boss? Is that a suspicion? That some of your members want to...
We will support the people who are protesting against him because, I mean, that man, he should have left long time. I'm a Ghanaian, I also pay tax. How do we lose 60 billion? How on earth? This thing, he doesn't even need... I wonder, he's a PhD holder. Does it mean that when...
So your members are forcing you to join the protest?
I'm saying that we support the argument that he should leave. We are Ghanaians. Even though we are Men's Gold customers, we are minding our own business there. But the generality of it, because the hardships we are facing, this one is triple. We are already in hardship. Now there's no money. There's no money.
So are you going?
Is he telling... When the times come, well, we have not decided, but that is what we are also watching the scene. When the time comes, I don't want us to drift so much into that, but I'm not sure why he's still there. What is he looking for? Does it mean that when he leaves Bank of Ghana, he cannot eat? You are a PhD holder.
Okay.
What jacket you are, leave the...
I see. We need to go, Fred, but let's see what the case will be. Any message to the people of Ghana who say, well, by now, you should just be taking that as part of life. Relax, just calm down. And let things slide.
Blessed, you are trying very hard for us to forget about.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. If your money comes, obviously you'll give me some, maybe some 10% somewhere. But anyway,
so, you know that it's not possible that we can forget about the money. But what I believe is that I still want our people. Coming Sunday, we shall have a general meeting at Christ Apostolic Church, La Paz, opposite. Closer to a thermal station.
Okay.
So we are inviting all the customers, the genuine customers, come. Okay. Then please, take heart. Take it cool. Using the due process takes time. But at the end of it all, we shall laugh.
Okay. Would that include myself?
Yes. Sure. I'll break the news to you.
And that's why we're smiling.
And I mean,
the AM show.
for what you have done for us, when we get our money, I know you have a relative or somebody who is affected. So when it happens, I'm sure it will be a plus because you have done a
why my family member? You're my
my
brother too.
Yes,
Stop
yes,
that.
you,
I mean, don't do that.
When I smile, you also
your money is on the way and you don't want to give me some. Anyway, we're grateful to Fred Forson for joining us, convener for the Coalition of Aggrieved Customers of Men's Gold. This is the AM show. We're coming with AM Business after this. Please stay.
Swami India Ghana Limited, incorporated in 2013, is a subsidiary of Sineg India Senegal and Swami Holding Limited UAE, incorporated in 2009 and 2019 respectively.
Swami India Ghana Limited is a real estate company that develops properties for those who value flawless designs, superb craftsmanship, and pristine finish. Here in Swami India Ghana Limited, we ensure that every one of our development embodies the true definition of quality, clear communication, as well as proficient execution. This enables us to successfully acquire, finance, develop, market, and manage the most sophisticated development projects worldwide. In the heart of Pram Pram, one of the fastest developing cities in Accra, Ghana, lies Springfield Estates. With the closest proximity to social and commercial centers of Accra and Tema, Springfield Estate is a premium gated community filled with service plots.
The company is a privately owned, diversified real estate company that seeks to provide housing solutions to clients looking to invest in quality properties across Ghana.
We have Paradise Estate located near East Legon Hills. This serene gated community is made up of 3 and 4 bedroom houses. The home buyer or real estate investor is assured of world-class amenities such as the state-of-the-art gymnasium, a community pool, kids playground, large green gardens, as well as tennis courts, coupled with maximum security, giving them an aura of class and comfort, as well as returns on the investment made. In Osuringwe Estate, one of the top prime locations in Accra, Ghana, one can find Solaris Apartments. I love to call it the magnificent Solaris. This apartment is made up of 1 and 2 bedroom units. This is a residential and commercial development. One can find exquisite amenities such as the infinity pool, state-of-the-art gymnasium, and the banquet hall. We also have great commercial spaces such as the cafeteria, restaurant, rooftop bar.
Driven by an internal team of talented professionals whose combined breadth of experience spans all areas of real estate development.
In today's Ghana, a lot of individuals fret in the purchase of lands and properties because of the issues that hover around them. Swami India Ghana Limited, here to answer the quest of lands and property investments, came up with Springfield Estate, Solaris Apartments, and Paradise Estate. We are part of the Habitat Fair this year to market and tell the general public the offers we have for them and the quality we are also providing to them.
The company envisions to facilitate access to housing for all potential homeowners at this year's EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair.
Customers are assured of answers to all their building and property needs, and also solutions to all needs that comes with the purchase of real estate properties. Swami India Ghana Limited understand clearly how the real estate market dwells here in Accra, Ghana. So, welcome to Solaris Apartments. This is the double height entrance foyer of Solaris Apartments. Here in the reception, we have the reception desk that is being managed by facility management. We have certain areas where clients can use as waiting areas or working lounge. Downstairs, we have the wellness center. There is a banquet hall. We have 4 elevators, where 1 is a goods lift, then 3 are for residents. We also have the facility management.
we're about wrapping up on the show, but I cannot leave without hearing from you this morning on the AM show. So why don't we open up the phone lines just to get your feedback on some of the stories that we brought to you so far and the reactions to them. I've been hearing from Peter Tobo, we've been hearing from Dr. Stephen Amwa, also from the CEO of the Ghana Publishing Company, David Asante, on the NPP's reorganization process and some of the developments as well in the Volta region, which has not been too helpful. 0302 211 691. Just give me a call. Let me think through how we'll be, dealing with this. Okay, I have, a few more minutes, so you can just give us a call. We'll pick a few more of them before we'll wrap up right now. So you have just about a few more minutes for you to take advantage of this window and share your thoughts with me here on the AM show. You have the numbers on your screens right now. Let's speak to Daniel, who's joining us all the way from the Upper East region. Daniel, what's your concern this morning?
I think, as they were saying, the scammer will always want to finish everything up before he can now understand that the person is really a scammer. Looking at this number one issue, I don't know whether the government has an interest in the case, whether they are also having a part in the shares that this number one guy tries to amass from time.
I see.
Every time we hear number one, how can you tell me to buy another price out of this amount of money to retrieve my own money that you have scammed me off?
That's a very interesting point you're raising there, Daniel, giving us a call from the Upper East region this morning, 0302 211 691. And you'll be sharing your thoughts with us once you call that number. We will be wrapping up shortly, but we do maybe just one or two more calls, and then we could just wrap up the show right now. But Daniel's concern is about the number one men's gold case. The latest we have on that is that the Attorney General has decided to slap some charges on the CEO of the defunct company. And the hearings will begin that will be starting off in September. We're waiting to see what more issues the AG will be addressing before the hearings itself starts in September. We also do know that the aggrieved customers of Men's Gold are demanding the disclosure on the assets that were confiscated, those that were frozen, how much was made out of the auction of some of the vehicles belonging to the company, and what the way forward will be. I guess these are all concerns that will be addressed as and when we have the AG coming through. Razak is calling us from Boku this morning. Razak, how's Boku?
Yeah, Boku is fine, sir.
Razak, let's hear you.
I want to talk about number one issue. It's about I don't know how Ghanaians are taking us. They think we are fools, and we are not. Even though I am not in that investment, like what is happening, what we are hearing is not good. They take, if they are not paying, they should let the people know. And they should arrest the guy who did that. And don't let the person to be roaming with police escort, and then he's enjoying life. People are suffering. It's not good. This will bring problem in other nations. It's not good at all. The politicians have to take us serious. We are not fools. We are just like them. Some of us are also wise.
Okay. Yeah, I perfectly understand your concern. But Razak, thank you for giving us a call all the way from Boku this morning. That's all we have for you on the AM show. I'm Blessed Sugam. If you want more stories, we have them for you at myjoyonline.com. Next is News Desk. News Desk is coming your way after these messages. Please stay.